Hello and welcome to Trucking Answers Monday live show. It is live Monday, 1 p.m. It's exciting to be here. Michael Muller was first. Let's put that out there right away. All right, as we get the show started. Right, so let's get into it. What is happening out there today? It's going to be a great day for everybody out there. Mark, early second, right? Ely was second. Walt, win. What's going on? You're talking about U.S. Foods and Cisco. If you like unloading, it's a good place, right? They're running $75,000 ads here. DA, what's happening? Trucker Hershey made it, and you're on home time today. Nice. Nice to be home and on the show at the same time. Michael, going to Dallas. It's probably super hot down there today. Yes, Jared, and you beat the notification, which should be going out now, depending on what YouTube thinks. I know, Michael, you've been here all day. I really appreciate it. You've been on the show longer than I have today. 3 trucking companies shut down. What's the third one? We're going to talk about Williams. What's the third one? And by the way, this happens all the time, everybody. It's not like this doesn't happen. People only hear about it because it's something big like Falcon, but this does happen a lot. Will Hazard, what's happening today? Steve-O, is that the Steve-O? What's going on? Zane is here. Chrome Daddy, yeah, what's happening out there today? Night Rider is here during the day. Nomad Trucker is nomading right over here. King Bob, what's going on? Crowbar. Boyd Brothers, yeah, we should look into Boyd Brothers. Really have to put that out on my list there. Yeah, Flat Cap Trucker, I am feeling better. Boy, it was a couple of tough weeks, really. Yeah, I won't be putting those 12 pounds back on. Many of you don't know this, but a number of years ago I lost 100 pounds, and I have pictures to prove it. I haven't put them out there. It's somewhat embarrassing to be back, gained 60 or so pounds of that back, but I've lost 100 pounds, so I know that I can do it, and I will just have to do it again. Sean, what's happening out there? Auto evidence, I don't know about whatever that is. Nomad, 8 in Arizona, 8 degrees, yikes. Depending where you are, right? Hey, Light Bright, what's happening? It's good to see you here today. Thank you. All is going good here. The Fishing Trucker, what's going on? Yeah. What's happening out there today? All right. Joshua, good morning. It's Cheyenne. Yikes. Looking skinny already? I don't know about that, but I appreciate it anyway. 80 sounds better, right? Michael Martin, Colorado Springs, looking good out there, man. Jake Cannell, yeah, I saw he did a video the other day. I reached out to him after that other video, and he said he was okay and just taking some time off. So that's good, right? Let's get everybody back out here. Bold Venture is here. GT40, what's happening? Anthony, what's going on out there today? Compass Trans, that's interesting. Is that a company? Hey, what's happening? Gustavo, yeah, how about some pizza? Hey, I hope you brought some for everybody. You're in Fort Worth, Night Rider, and don't work till 7. Nice, that's awesome. Thanks for the good information. I appreciate you saying that. Am I coming to Gats? I don't know about that. I have to look the dates up and stuff. That's maybe 50-50 on that one. Still looking good for the Trucker Jamboree in July, though, in Walcott, Iowa. Gary, oh, you're quite welcome for the per diem. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it at all, especially if a company charges you for it. That's even worse. You don't remember the name. You saw the notification of closing. Oh, okay, well, yeah, somebody get that name of that next company out there. This happens a lot, though. These small companies, they close a lot. You know, the government, I was looking that up, they said only 5% of companies are open after 5 years. So if you go to work for a small place that just opened, it's likely that they're going to close. Hopefully they at least get you back home. Hey, what's up in Phoenix? Man, 100 degrees out there. What's happening? Laverne, hey, what's going on? I'm at home. I'm always home on Mondays here for the show. That's absolutely correct. Sea Hill, good weather, 85 in Georgia. Yeah, the whole country is peaceful with nice today. Big B, I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Where's the free roller wieners? Hey, whoever has got that good bonus is going to be paying those out today, man. Let's get the loves to give some of those things out. Sitting at the dock and then going home, John. Good. I hope they're paying you right. I appreciate that, Big B, right. Anytime Towing is here. What's going on? Thanks for being on the show today, listening and driving to everyone's New York City. Holy mackerel. They better pay extra to go down there. Yikes. Do they at least pay for the tolls? Alex, the OTR driver, is here checking in. Waco, Scott's in Waco. Man, Marty's out there. It's a big show today. Andrew, belly dumping in Iowa. It is going good here. Dumping the belly here, too. Kind of the same kind of thing. You contact a recruiter at Wolding, right, Canada now, and have copies of their benefit and pay package. I have not contacted them. Yeah, send those over or post them somewhere. What's up at 75 South in Kentucky? Clay, it's going good here. 81 in Louisiana at Brandon, man. Hey, Todd, what's going on? It's good to see you here. What do we think about this driver in this Denver crash? What is happening with that? What are your thoughts? And I'll give you some thoughts on that. And did you see all the 40 charges? I have a list of every charge that they charged this guy with. It's a mess. Have you ever seen a non-ghetto pilot? Yeah, some of them are nice, and it usually ends up being a pilot that used to be some other company where they bought the truck stop, and now it's a pilot. So yeah, some of them are nice like that, but no, mostly they're horrible. And I'm very happy, and grateful that I have a company that allows me to fuel anywhere I want. I have an open Comdata card. You can use the card anywhere you want. And by the way, it's from George Costanza, which I love, right? I went in that pilot. I didn't get any soup, but that's another story. Anyhow, my Comdata card is open, so you don't ever find me in a pilot just because they're a disaster. James, I look like a supermodel. Yeah, of what, though? That's the question. The fishing trucker, it was in Alabama. That's Williams, right? That's out of Alabama. Or unless there's another one, right? Roger Moore is here. Nice. Local life in Dallas. I'm doing great. What's going on in Dallas locally? You're heading to San Antonio, trucking man. I never can forget that, by the way. To pick up a TJ Maxx. Oh, you're a Maxxinista? Right. To Evansville. Oh, super great. I go down to Evansville every day. Mooring from Laredo, Texas. What's the thoughts on the Texas driver? Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Keep up losing weight. I plan to, right? I finally get rid of it once and for all. Good afternoon from Orlando. What's going on in Orlando? Man, I took chocolate many years ago from Roswell, New Mexico, which I thought was super cool, to Disney World. So I thought that was pretty great. Greetings from Amarillo. Oil change time. I had the wife's oil changed in her car, so almost like the same thing. How much is it at the speed cutoff for an oil change? I'm curious about that. Can you tell me if it's okay to have your son in the front seat in the car seat? No airbags. I don't see why not, as long as the seat is secured, right, and your company allows it. Why not? Heck, in a car, we just bounced around the back of my dad's Fury in the wagon all the time. It was snowing when you got up on Tuesday in Nevada. Yikes. What's up with that? You can fuel anywhere you want at Pacific Pride. Yeah, I can fuel anywhere I want that takes the card. So anywhere that takes the card, I can fuel anybody that takes Comdata. So if they take it, I can fuel there too. Yes. Hot and humid in Dayton, Texas. That's awesome. Casper, Wyoming, it's 34. What is the matter out there? When are we going to get some summer coming out? Check out Driven Trucking and see his latest video on Lone Mountain. Sweet. Robert, what is happening? I'm doing great here. GT40 gets paid by the hour, so great. Been sitting at Cisco for 3.5 hours and have 22 pallets. It's terrible. You feel bad for the OTR drivers. That's the thing of it. There's going to be a driver sitting there. There's going to be a driver sitting there at that dock, not making any money, wondering why they don't make any money there. If you're at a place that doesn't pay you, it's time to move on. There's no point anymore in trucking to not make money. We need to make money. 40 charges. Yeah, he did have 40 charges. The pilot in Waco isn't bad. Some of them are better than others. Company accepts new drivers with felonies. Western Express. If you have a lot of felonies, you may have to call Western Express. I mean, they'll take a lot of things. And if you can't get on there, I don't know what to tell you. Let me read off the 40 charges that this guy is charged with in Denver in the crash. 4 counts of vehicular homicide. 6 counts of assault in the first degree. 24 counts of attempted first-degree assault, 2 counts of vehicular assault, 1 count of reckless driving, 3 counts of a crime of violence, and he's being held on a $400,000 bond. Okay, Scott says the I-70 driver was a driver for 2 weeks. No, he'd been at his current company at least 1 year that we know of, so he's got at least a year of experience. They might clamp down hard on inspections and truck speeds. Yeah, 70 going into Denver there, that is a long downgrade. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's a real problem. On your way to the hospital with a painful earache. Yikes. Arnold gave you the day off. That's good. Go get that fixed. Anybody on the road, if you get sick or whatever, go take care of it because, heck, little stuff, it can develop into, huge things. So, yeah, go get that taken care of. Holy mackerel. Jeff, what's going on out there? They just rebuilt the pilot in Remington, Indiana. Oh, yeah, I haven't been in that one in a long time, ironically. Yeah, those two might. I don't know. I don't talk about these other channels like that. So what those two are up to, holy mackerel, I'm staying out of that. We're out here. I'm trying to give trucking advice, not, worry about those kind of dudes, right? There's a video of the Colorado driver the week before the accident, and he was all over. Really, I haven't seen that video. That's interesting if that would come to light. Johnny says, corporate card, if you need fuel, get it. Isn't that great? So fueling anywhere you want, how much time does that save? Companies think they save money by having you go to a certain place and wait in line to save 4 cents. I don't know about that. It's much better if I can decide where I go. I'll save a bunch of time for myself. It saves them time and money eventually because the truck doesn't sit there. It's back on the road, making me money and making the company money. I just love it anyway, of course. Of course. Do I think KLM is a great company? Steel Horse answers that immediately with a no, which everyone here I'm sure concurs. He couldn't read or understand English. He didn't know what a truck ramp. Okay, now I don't know about that. Now here's the thing about that. Now he did have an interpreter, and as we talked about, on the other show, which I agree with, that could only be because if the court feels that even if there's a chance that he doesn't understand English, if he didn't have an interpreter and got convicted, it's an instant appeal. So they could be doing that basically to protect themselves more than anything else to get a good conviction. So there's always the possibility for that. Stan, hello from Appleton, Wisconsin. Everything's big and better in Texas, and Amazon is paying too. I don't know if they pay that big though, right? So the driver couldn't read English. We don't know if he could read English, right? We don't know about that. Your company says 70 between Utah and Denver is not authorized. I wonder why they don't authorize it. I will say a lot of places don't like you to take it in the winter because of the chaining, and maybe they feel their drivers just aren't up to going back and forth across there. I mean, it's very scenic. There's not many places to stop. You've sat at a ship for 20 hours one time and barely got paid, right? It's time to move out of that place, right? I mean, that's not great, right? So you sit a day, they don't pay you anything, and they're like, no, just too bad for you. That needs to end immediately, and it ends by us not tolerating it. Just saw a UPS driver lose a double trailer on 26. That was recently. Is that closed? Man. Was he, did they start wiggling? Once you get those things wiggling, you got a huge problem. Truck stops in Mexico on TA Petro smart truck apps? None. I don't know if there's any on there, right? Do I enjoy truck driving? Absolutely. I mean, driving is great. It's a great career, and I like it. You have to like driving, and I do like driving. So even on my off time, people say, oh, do you drive in your off time? Absolutely. I don't know if my wife has ever driven me anywhere. So I always drive. I love it. I love doing it. I think it's great, and it's a great career besides. When you can get paid to do something that you love to do, absolutely. How great is that? Tell the driver to check for Meniere's disease in his ears. Yeah, he can. I don't know what that is. We'll go along with that. George Costanza's over the road since the show ended. Do it because you're single and have almost no bills. That's a great way to do it. No rent or mortgage, and you live in the truck. Make 60 and 75% is investment. No leeches at home. Well, I don't know about leeches, right? Maybe the cat. But, otherwise, no. Big in Texas, while they get bugs the size of birds. I know, it's crazy, right? And being single and saving your money on the road, how much money? You could retire in your 40s if you did that, really. If you could, had the fortitude to do it. You had lunch at a Pilot today. 2 gigantic burritos, a nacho plate. It's not even Tuesday. Cover with a hot dog, so they cover the nacho with hot dogs. Nice. And chili cheese topped with jalapenos. I hope you're driving by yourself. You're solo. I just took a load 100,000 from Denver over I-70 and US 6. Wow. So you had, because they didn't let you through the tunnel, right? Yikes. How's 6? Is it still snowy up there? ALR, hello, Mark, out of California. Nice. Long line at prison, Port Costco. That's sad, right? And sitting there, probably not being paid, most people. I don't like it. Usually fill up the loves. Got to earn your roller wieners and free showers. Yeah, you get your 1,500 points and you get them all month, right? Everything is bigger in Texas, literally. The company the Texas driver worked for has a long history of violations. I've heard that. I didn't see it. Most of them were due to brakes, and that is a problem. Jeff's day off to go to the dentist. That's sweet. Get your teeth taken care of, too. You need your choppers. Do I know anything about Hub Group? No, I don't know anything about Hub. They advertise a lot. It's a lot of container stuff, right? A lot of container stuff. If they pay you to sit around, it's probably not bad because they have all these local containers. Well, and here's the thing about these brake issues. So if they did have brake issues, it's possible he's telling the truth. What do you think about that? What if he is telling the truth? Then I think his only problem is that he missed the truck ramp. He didn't take the ramp. That's where I have a real problem with it. As a free medical, truckers need to keep up to date on immunizations, especially meningitis. Do you need a meningitis? You never know what you may catch in these crappy stations. What are you doing in there? I go to the doctor regularly, get my checkups and everything, and he's never recommended that. So is that something that I should ask him about? Meningitis? I thought that was just in college. They get that over at Purdue all the time. What's up, Darnell? What's happening? Running late for class. Martin is a decent company, been there 2 years. Yeah, I thought so. They have a lot of good programs going on over there. The driver had 2 previous violations. Driver fitness, could not communication. Oh, really? So is that written somewhere that he could not communicate in English during an inspection? Now if that's true, now I think he should have been taken off the road right then. No CDL. I don't know. They didn't mention that anywhere. That he doesn't have a CDL. What kind of company would hire you with that? Where's all this information where are people getting this information from? Test the spirits. Nice. Ahoy from Agoy. Nice. What does everyone think about the driver in Colorado being charged? Yeah, that's what I'm asking too. Should he be charged for not using the escape ramp? So far, that's been my only problem with him, is that he didn't use the ramp. So then anything that he did beyond that is his fault for not taking the ramp. That's the problem. Because there's that YouTube video, which has tons of views, you can go look at it, of somebody that caught him live, and there's no smoke coming from his brakes, and he's going by that ramp. So I don't know what to say about that. You don't chain up, you carry chains, but don't use them. That's how most companies do it. They make you carry them because it's required, and you don't chain up. The email I sent had a video that 70 crashed in that article. Oh, okay, good. If you see my wife driving, chances are I'm intoxicated. Well, maybe, right? I'm not a drinker. I don't drink at all. So, but I agree. If we go anywhere, whatever, I drive. LTI, where we go? LTI Trucking screwed up your payroll. You live in Mobile and need a new job. Well, Williams would not be a place to go. And look, if they screw up one time, it's not worth quitting if they'll fix it. Because a place messes you up one time, I've had my checks be wrong too. I don't quit over it. It depends, if it's a lot of times or whatever and they won't fix it, then yeah, it's time to move out. Guys, come on, that I-70 driver speaks well English and understands it? Maybe. It's just an excuse to try to get in trouble. He was not a Mexican. I agree. He's from Cuba, right? He's from Cuba and here legally on a green card. So let's not think like you is here legally or whatever. He's here legally on a green card from Cuba. Bugs are bad in Texas this year. Aren't they bad every year down there? I think Houston, I always thought Houston was the worst city in the United States in the summer. I'd rather live in Florida. In Oregon with a hazmat May container from China, fireworks. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, holy mackerel. Are they bringing those out already? Yeah, right. No smoking around that. Hey, thank you about the diet, Roger Penske. Right. Working on it. It's back to fasting again, of course, every beginning of every week. Road was lined with 4 feet of snow. Oh, yeah, nice still. And you're 92 feet long. Yeah, so you can't go through the tunnel. But you managed to. Of course, he was going the other way. So you said you didn't kill anybody, but he was going the other way. Lucky that Colorado driver didn't hit you. Yeah, exactly. Boy, what if there would have been a firework truck in there? Holy mackerel. Cases of tuberculosis are being reported in some states. What the heck? Who's getting tuberculosis? What is it, the 20s? Do you need a flatbed or car carrier endorsement? There's no endorsement for that. Some states like New York they have some kind of coil endorsement you get on your license to haul coils. I'm kind of like being bit by something. I don't know. And maybe the cat has fleas or something. Anyhow. But no, there's no flatbed or car carrier endorsement. For car carriers, you can go watch Jay live on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central Time at Auto Transport Intel. How about that? He's got all the car carrier information. That's one thing that I've never done. I wonder what the results of the level 1 inspection was after the accident. Knowing some of these cops, they probably passed him on it. They put a little sticker on the wreckage of that truck. If you inspect the truck and don't feel the brakes are good, you don't move. I agree with you. I agree on that. That's true. He did pass the ramps, and that's been my problem with the whole thing. His brakes were smoking. Now, in the video, it did not look like there was any smoking, right? And he was unable to read or speak or write English. I haven't seen that in any legitimate place yet. Hey, Chris, what's going on? Even passing the ramp, there was a lot of grass. When I hit the dirt, he should have done something. I think, maybe you think, oh, well, it's almost done here, and if I get to the bottom, I can just coast it out and be okay, That could be a thought. I don't know if that was his thought. Some runaway ramps go almost straight up, but toward the end, you have to try to jump out away from the truck. Well, usually, isn't there like 4 feet of rocks in them or whatever, pea gravel that you kind of sink into? But I guess if you started going backwards, you'd have to bail out of the thing. After he missed the ramp, do I think he should have oversteered to roll over the truck? I don't know about that. Most people probably wouldn't do it. I probably wouldn't, and I don't know if anybody would really do that. That's really tough to say on that one. Should have hit the ramp. The yellow and red knobs are spring-loaded, normally closed. Brakes cannot fail. The actuators are spring-loaded. Right, they could go out of adjustment, as what they were suggesting is that, even when they were on, they weren't hitting enough to slow them down. Freightliners that didn't know how to turn a Jake brake on because the on-off buttons on the steering wheel, that's maybe right. Some of them they're all over the place, so maybe he didn't know how to turn it on. Not guilty. Accidents happen. It wasn't preventable. I don't know what they're going to say about this. Here's what I think is going to happen at the end, is that in a while he's going to plead guilty to 1 or 2 charges and not go to trial. That's how I think it will end. He'll get a felony or a couple and then be deported, because if you're on a green card, you get a felony, you get deported. After he goes to jail, he'll be deported. I heard they're going to start paying minimum wage for over-the-road drivers. That was a case in Arkansas that's going to be appealed. And believe me, federal law it doesn't prohibit, right? It exempts transportation from minimum wage. Isn't that great? We get exempted from it. So as soon as that goes to the federal courts, it'll be not allowed. The feds will say no, because transportation is exempt. So I don't think that's going to happen. And really, do you want minimum wage? I mean, your on-duty time should already be being paid if you're at a good company. And, beyond that, sleeping, I don't think you should even be paid for sleeping, really. You're sleeping. You should get enough that it covers your gone time. Over-the-road drivers should get $2,000. If the brakes were okay, I lost my spot here. Some runaway ramps. Oh, I went way back, right. I'm way out of my thing, right. I saw a Swift driver, here we go, in a TA in Chicago North using chucks to slide tandem. Sweet. I asked him, can't you get, where did I go here? Can't you get, how come I'm losing my spot here? I'm going crazy here today. Can't you get them adjusted at the shop? No, they probably won't pay it. They'll be like, no, we're not going to do that. Thank you very much. Infinity. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You ever had your spring brake valve on your trailer just randomly die? Pulled up to the first shop today driving after 4 hours fine, and the valve went. Well, that's a problem. And so then if you're driving, you'd have no brakes, right? And so that's what I'm saying about this. If we really had no brakes, my problem with it then is the ramp. So if the brakes legit failed, it is an accident, except that he passed a ramp, right? He passed a ramp. I've had a bunch of containers years ago that really didn't have any brakes on them, but not fail on the road. So what if his brakes did fail like that, where the spring goes bad, has no brakes? Is it an accident, or should he go to jail? Should he go to jail over it? The guy was in the States for 2 years. That's true. Surely not enough time to learn English. You could already know English, especially when living in an era where people speak Spanish. I don't know. I mean, he hasn't said anything, so I'm not making that kind of thing. People around the world, right? They speak English. He may have known it before he came here. It's possible. Possible. Walmart sells fireworks already? Nice. I never go into Walmart. Glad there wasn't a TSMT truck. Yeah, what if there was some kind of truck like that in that? That's my problem with it. Why are we passing the ramp? You got a new windshield, and 2 hours later I drove through a swarm of bees. At least they didn't break through it. It was bees. So in Florida, the rest areas, at least they used to have these washers you could pull up to and throw like 40 gallons of water at your windshield, which I always thought was really great down south, right? Denver News reported that he was the driver previously cited in company's violations for not comprehending English. All right, so the news is reporting it. So, as soon as somebody, I don't know how you get cited for it and then get let go on your way. Shouldn't that be a disqualification right there on the spot? Meningitis vaccine, and always get a TB skin test. Well, I'm not 9. George, those are the main ones that truckers should have. Really? Bacterial meningitis can quickly turn fatal? Well, how are we getting this? And do truck drivers get this? Is this something, I'll put that out there if drivers get this, but Is this really a thing for truck drivers? In the Caribbean, there's a Scientology cruise ship being quarantined due to measles. Yeah, that's from people not getting their vaccine, right? From that deal. And right, we should put everybody that doesn't get vaccines out there in that ship. Western Express had deaf and blind people driving better than the majority of drivers. Look, that we got to give it to this. That wasn't a Western Express truck in that accident. Dingle bee berries on his windshield. Yeah, I have to clean those out of there. The engine brake on your Cat 550 really does help, unlike the new trucks. Yeah, I don't know why he wasn't Jake braking it, and how he initially got up to 85 miles an hour, which is what they were saying. They should they just about raise his bail money. He'll bail out. How does he get $400,000 and take a boat from Miami back to Cuba and vanish? So this guy can put up $400,000 bond. Nice. Hey, Mad Maldy, what's going on today? Good to see you here today. What would a company like Knight acquire a company like Swift with all the driver accidents? Well, a lot of them have accidents, and overall, these companies just figure it out on some kind of spreadsheet and say, all right, we have pay this much in accidents, but we make this much in profit, so it's worth it. Kind of like the Ford Pinto, bumper program, where they figured, well, we could put this part on here and we'll pay less in, money that we put out than, anything else. He may have been panicked and drove past the ramp. Part of driving, though, is that ramp. That is where I'm hung up on this, where, would be conviction or not. I don't know how they're ever going to prove the brakes don't work. Did you see there's nothing left of the truck? There's like just a picture of a shell, there's nothing left. He was driving a Freightliner Century. Nice modern truck. Jake's on the dash, right, on a Century. Sweet. It's 5.2 miles from the last ramp to the overpass. Wow. He had plenty of time to put that truck in the ditch. He was too scared to do so. That's a tough ask of anybody to do that, to basically kill themselves. It's one thing to go up the ramp. I think having people do that, I don't think most people could do it. 10 independent brake cylinders all failed at the same time. Right, I agree. The tire skid will tell the story. Was there any skids, though? That, if he had brakes, what are we doing then? Is he just trying to make the bottom and coast it out? What else is a transportation merchant marine train airplane when it tells the transportation worker? I would think not the driver, the surrounding employees. Well, yeah, he's going to be an employee of the company, but for this kind of negligence, he's being charged criminally himself. Life in prison, people cannot be replaced if it's not an accident. Getting buffering, I apologize for that, and now we're getting clarity. All right. Can we post links here? No, I don't allow links to be posted because I don't know where they go. So you can send me a link and I can put it out, but people could post a link to God knows what. It's going to something illegal, something immoral, who knows what, so that's why I don't allow links to be posted. I'm sorry, but I hope that you understand that because I don't know where the link goes. And so because it's my stream, YouTube and that, I'll get in trouble for that. I don't want that kind of problem. And, so I don't know where they go. So send me the link and I'll see where it goes that way. That, and that's just for any links. It just doesn't, I don't allow links. I would like to see that, though. If you're saying that you have a link to that, that would be great to see. No such thing as brakes failing at the same time. It would be unlikely that they would all fail, right? The washers are still there in Florida. Good. Because how many times have you used those? They're the greatest thing ever. Who wants to talk when you're in that much trouble? I would do the same. Look, your lawyer's going to tell you not to talk. I understand why he's not saying anything. Your lawyer's certainly not going to let you say anything, for sure. Whether you spoke perfect English or no English, your lawyer's not going to have you talk. Down in Texas, Laredo, Texas, freight is slow, and it's the only day it's raining and got a quesadilla from one of the trucks. Those trucks down there also had the best lemonade. I don't know why. But the Laredo trucks, made fresh lemonade. It was $1 then. God knows what it is now. Last time I was in Laredo. They have the best lemonade. I totally recommend it. I don't care what truck it came from. When they're making fresh lemonade, super delicious when it's super hot out. Oh, can't wait. Somebody bring me a lemonade from Laredo. I don't care where he's from, what language he speaks, or how much experience he has. People are dead, so he's got to pay for it. I kind of agree, but if it's an accident, then it is an accident. That is it preventable or not? It's one of those things that we want to find out if it's not preventable. And I'm hung up on that ramp, regardless of your brakes. If you don't have any brakes, you got to hit that ramp. If you don't, then, whatever happens, you got to take responsibility. You think that being out of service, no bueno. I would think so, but until you correct the out of service violation, you're not supposed to be able to move your vehicle. So if the out of service violation is you don't know English, you have to sit there at the scale with the Rosetta Stone until you can speak English. I mean, that's what it should be. That's how they should do that kind of violation, because it's not allowed. They have too many trucks. That's why it's no big deal. Oh, right. At the moment, right. In India, they're getting rid of over-the-road drivers. They're building pit stops where one driver drives 6 hours and another driver takes a truck. They hire drivers. A lot of companies here do that. There's a lot of places here. Somebody just wrote to me from Werner that's doing that out in Wyoming. So, yeah, I know a lot of places here do that. They've reported they cannot do any forensic inspection. It's too burnt up. There's nothing left to it. It's just a frame, really. The families of the victims should get that GoFundMe. Who's got a GoFundMe set up? Don't tell me that driver has a GoFundMe page. If I had the same charges as the driver, I'd try to go for a plea deal. That's the way it's going to go, I think. There's no way he'd be found innocent. Correct. A lot of these charges, he's not going to get guilty, though. 24 counts of attempted first-degree assault, so he would have had to, done that on purpose, with a mindset of, I'm going to hurt these people. That's probably not going to stick, I don't think. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know. But they'll certainly get a couple of them to stick, so you're better off at least some. You'll plead to something and get a year or two, I think, maybe 4 years, out in 2, and then deported because you're on a green card. You can't get a felony. His lawyer offered he would surrender his passport. Yeah, they make you do that, of course. You got to give up your passport. He didn't have the encouragement to go up the ramp. He paid a high price. Well, the other people are the ones paying the price, the dead people. Jake brakes automatically go out when the engine overheats. Oh, that's interesting. I've never had that happen. I didn't know that they turn off the Jakes. Peterbilt 379. Good. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you, Sergeant, on the links. I just can't. I don't know where they all go, and so people can post, who knows everything that's out there. So, yeah, so you can always send me links, though. No passport doesn't stop you from leaving. That's true. It's just they figure they're taking your passport. If you want to leave, there's ways out, I'm sure. When he passes the runaway ramp, it's no longer an accident. That's what I'm saying. And he should be held accountable. If at the point of the ramp you knew you had some kind of problem, you should have taken the ramp. Beyond that, whatever happens, you're going to have to pay for. I agree. Regardless of speaking English or not. There's a video on YouTube, a guy that was live streaming his car, right? That's what I'm saying. And blew past him on the shoulder and crashed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's this live video of it where somebody happened to be right on it. And it just happened to be in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place, really. That guy in that car was lucky, too, by the way. And I'll tell you this, if he couldn't speak English, or for some other reason he's put on the road by his company, knowing that he didn't qualify, they should be held to account as well. Because they shouldn't be putting drivers on the road that are not qualified. And it doesn't matter what company. In any accident, if a driver is found unqualified, the company should be held accountable. Peterbilt is going to join Celadon. You want a CDL and a manual, and they still have them? Yeah, they can't afford any new trucks because they're about to go broke. Check out that video from last week, right? Hey, Mike, checking in from New York. Sorry you're late. Yeah, I'm sorry. I appreciate that you are here today, though. Talking about this truck accident in Colorado. What do you think about that? Most of us don't know what it feels like to lose control on 85 miles an hour. Yes, panic takes over. I agree. And your judgment would go out. You wouldn't see the ramp. That's true. Okay, that might be true. But regardless, the ramp is there for him to use. And so, if he didn't take it, then his actions he has to account for his actions. Foreign workers don't have the same standards for safety or value their life in other countries. I don't know. I don't know if that's true for this person. I don't think he's going down there saying, I don't value anybody's life, so I'm just going to go as fast as possible. I don't know about that. And, if anything, someone that from Cuba, they would maybe have even more family, values than some people. I don't know. I don't know if that takes anything into it or not. His CDL was issued in Texas. Yeah, he lives in Texas, so I'm going to believe it was in Texas. The company's from Texas. So I don't know if he's ever gone down these mountains. Maybe there should be special mountain training, really, especially on 70. Because there are more than just this company that was posted here that don't want drivers going across 70. There's some of them that don't like you taking 70. You have some great pictures of Weed, California, and the rest area. You're right. Town near Mount Shasta. Yeah, Weed, California. Love it. Send those over, right? I'll post them. This is where you have no Jake brake signs. Well, there's certainly there's that sign is not on I-70. Your company makes you get a TB skin test? Really? Because you run in northern Mexico. Oh, really? Oh, well, but see, you're going to another country where there may be TB. That's really interesting. Do they pay for it? Sit at the inspection station. Yeah, look, if you can't speak English, you can't drive that truck until you're qualified, right? So if you get a disqualification until you solve it, you got to get on Rosetta Stone. The driver out of service, not the truck. Right, and so until you're back in service, you can't drive. Yeah. He got a CDL in Florida. I didn't realize that. All Cubans in Florida do not comprehend English. I don't know. I don't think that's true. Right? I don't want to do these kind of sweeping, statements that all Cubans don't understand English. That's certainly not true. Great Lemonade at Raising Cane's. Is that one of those trucks there? I mean, those trucks down there at the border. I don't know where they get their lemons from, but the lemonade, maybe because it's so hot down there. I mean, you're down there in the summer. It's 90, 100 degrees out and humid, and holy mackerel, the lemonade, just super good. $1 it used to be. Probably $3 now, $4. I wouldn't care if it was $10. I would just hold money out and say, you take the bill as appropriate to this lemonade. Wonder how much experience did he have that was down south driving. Maybe it was his first load. It might be. I thought of that too because of Texas and flatbeds. He might have just run, 20. I don't know. 30, 20, I don't know. And he gives his first load and goes across 70. We don't know. The driver has a GoFundMe. That's incredible. That's really incredible. How much? Does anybody know how much money's in that GoFundMe page? Steer clear of the pilot in Brookville at 78. It's a cluster. Yeah. When is that one not a cluster? It's almost at the 400,000. Really? So people are bailing him out. I love it. Okay. So here at 109, but people are saying it's almost at 400. I love it. The fact that he was out of control and almost ran off the before the ramp tells me no brakes. Maybe, but once he passes the ramp, that's my problem. Okay, so the brakes fail. It would be any accident would be an accident, but now you have an opportunity to take this truck off the road through the ramp. That's where I really have the problem with it. Once you pass that ramp and you're still going with no brakes, now what? Why isn't that your fault? The Denver accident is going to change the trucking industry? I don't know about that. Anytime towing all lanes, yeah, exactly. No hill in Centerlands. You've been smoking brakes in Virginia. Yes. I've seen smoking brakes. You haven't been smoking. Poor training. Yes, absolutely. Why are we smoking our brakes? You should not be smoking your brakes. How many people are giving him money? Yeah, somebody needs to go over there and find that information out. Bring that over here. You just find out the earth is not a ball flying through space. We all knew that. It's been flat forever. I'm surprised you didn't know that. The rest of us knew that. I don't understand. As a driver, you should be looking for that ramp. Yes, you're thinking, no brakes, let's hit this ramp. If he doesn't know English, how does he deliver in America with English directions? You can turn the GPS onto many different languages. I know mine, there's like 50 languages in the Google Maps, or maybe more than that. And you can have celebrities read it to you in a different language. Love it. Joshua experienced Donner for the first time. What do you think? Nice? Hey, keep let those brakes cool. I love those signs, right? There should be more mountain training. Yes, if companies that go through the mountain should train you. They don't hide the ramps. Exactly. They have signs, flashing signs, a special lane. Right. 3 miles ahead, they have signs. Absolutely. As a driver, you should be looking for the ramp. Exactly. What a professional truck driver does when he runs out of his brakes and there's no runaway ramp is to run the truck off the road. Yeah, I think that's asking more than most people would do. I think the ramp, yes, but I think people like crashing their truck or whatever, I don't think people would do it. I don't know that I would do it. CRST does not let their drivers go west on 70. Well, I can understand that. So there's more companies that don't even let you take 70. They're just afraid so they know. They're like, our training is so terrible here that we don't want you to take 70 because we just aren't any good at it. And somebody whose name I forgot, as usual, and they didn't tell me to mention it anyway, sent me a thing about Schneider that now it's not at 9 months you can be a trainer at Schneider. And I love that you're called a training engineer. I just love it. So Schneider, training engineer, 9 months, go over there and become a training engineer. It just doesn't make any sense. Any driver that does over the road on coastal needs mountain training. Yes. Before you go, you need to be trained on it. Now, shouldn't the government be held responsible? Here's the thing. Let's say he got a legit CDL. Got it legitimately, went to school, got his license. Why isn't the government held responsible for that? They're allowing people to get a license that are not qualified. The government should be in on that too. You don't think there's been a time that you haven't drove that route without smelling or seeing smoking brakes? That's crazy. What are people doing? It should change trucking. It should, but it probably won't. If you don't use a mountain driver and afraid to drive up the mountains, then you should stick to local or regional. Yeah, the companies, if they're going to send you across the mountains, they ought to train you to go across 70, especially 70. The immigrant companies are parasites. Well, a lot of places hire just anybody, and they're parasites. I've seen smoking brakes in Virginia. That's terrible, right? Before we start with mountain training, can we please start teaching common sense? Yeah, that's something you can't teach, though, right? That's the problem with common sense. If you could teach it, everybody would have it. If I buy a 2011 truck with DEF, I can rip it out and replace it with Detroit. You can change the engine, but then you're basically making your own glider kit. So you could. I think you could. There's some owner operator on here that can tell me what's going on with that. When I started driving, I just wanted to go fast and make time, including up and down hills. I agree, right? You're a good driver now, but didn't truly understand how bad things can get. That's why it should be imparted into people, how bad things can get. Maybe this will become a video or some kind of training. Maybe other people can learn from it. Oh, the foot valve went bad? That's also interesting. But if his foot valve is bad, then maybe he should be on that ramp. He bypassed the ramp, choosing to ride it out, taking the least open lane. Yes. And he didn't know there was an accident, and so a lot of people died, and so something has to happen from that. Did I hear about the case where the state trooper followed the grain hauler for 20 miles? Yikes. Because she admitted the trucker's driving and left a note on the truck admiring his driving? Yeah, I saw some kind of video about that. I don't know if it's true or not. I can't imagine a officer following you for 20 miles just to leave a note on your car to tell you that you're a great driver. It seems like a made-up story to me. I don't know. There's no way to verify that kind of thing. I don't know if it's true or not. It seems ridiculous, and I don't know what that good that would do me as a driver. Was it an automatic? I don't know. It was a Columbia, right? Or a Century, so probably a manual. It was nice, wasn't too scary. Yeah, not bad, because it's up and down on Donner. If you'll let the brakes cool like it says, you got it made, right? It's no problem. The CDL test is in English. You must know English to get your CDL. You can get it in different languages. Here in Indiana, I think you can get it in a couple of languages. I think Spanish and Polish, I think you can get it in here. Because in northern Indiana, there's a large Polish population. The trooper followed him to the elevator. I don't know if that's true, though. I just don't know if it's true. Maybe couldn't read the sign for the ramp if he couldn't read English. Well, then he's passed it. And since he qualifies for the CDL, he should be able to read English. And so, therefore, the state should be in on that. Where was the warning signs for the stating the accident ahead? I don't know if they had any signs for that or not. YouTube is where I first heard encouragement to use the ramps if in doubt. Really? Did you have any training, or did you just go into driving? Because not everybody gets training. But everybody should encourage you to use it. If there's a problem, hit the ramp because you're still going downhill. Why didn't he use his Jake brakes to help save his brakes? We don't know what happened in there. He hasn't said. Hi, everybody. What's going on? And you are a little late today, but I appreciate you being here. And I just passed that up there. Okay, Stephen, thanks for coming in. Is Schneider National one of the better companies? Not if they'll let their trainers have 9 months experience. Oh, Joshua, so England said, we'll go 8 months to be a trainer. We'll get the trainers before Schneider gets them. Isn't that crazy? There were 2 England trucks sitting all weekend. I'm sure they were not making any money, and that's the sad part of it. They didn't make any money. They should at least either be at their house or being paid, one of the two. The government is responsible for the trucking problems. The government allows these places like England to put trainers out there with 8 months of experience and say that they're trainers. That's crazy. The government doesn't care about us. That's true enough. The DOT should have had warning vehicles to let oncoming drivers know there was an accident. Well, they should, but here's the thing. No matter if you're on a hill or in a dale or going across the meadows or the Purple Mountain Majesties, you should be able to stop. No matter what is ahead of you, you need to be able to come to a complete stop. So, my policy going down a hill is the Jake holds the truck, period. I don't use brakes going down the hill. So whatever the speed that it is, that the Jake holds it, that's where I go down that hill. Because at the bottom, if you needed your full brakes, they'd be cool. You wouldn't have used them yet. And kablamo, you're on the brakes, and we stop, and no problem. So that's how I teach people, and that's how I go down mountain passes or whatever. The Jake holds the truck. whatever that speed is. There are hills in Maine with 18%, not on the interstate certainly, and some that are 26%. I'd like to see what road, send me that. Which road has a 26% grade? That must be some logging lumber road or something. What is 7%, right, is the max on the interstate by law. A lot of Canadian companies won't hire you for Western without on experience. You should have it, right. When you were with KLLM, they had a similar policy. They didn't want you going 70. So same thing. They're like, our drivers don't know what they're doing, so we're just not going to send them. Rather than training people, we just won't send them. And by the way, they better pay you to go around too. And they probably do. But do those companies pay you to go around, CRST and KLLM? They need to bring back regulation. They have mountain drums and shoes where the drums have cooling fins and the shoes are wider. That'd be great. Now the disc brakes should do better. I haven't gone across there with discs, but those should do better. Some states offer the CDL in Spanish, but in the FMCSR states you must speak and read English. That's correct, to drive the vehicle. And so, how they give the test in another language is beyond me. If you need English, why can't you take the test in English? Common sense is not common, exactly. Wolf Creek Pass on 60 puts hair on your chest. Yeah, off the interstate. All these off interstate passes, exactly. When it came to the USA from Germany, welcome to America, had to take an English test to ensure you could speak and understand English. And the DMV in Illinois had you take your test in English. They should. I mean, for the CDL, it's part of your test. And even to drive a car, let's be honest, you should be able to speak English. Everybody in the country should speak English. That's always been my case. To make sure that you can read and understand the signs. Right. We want you to be able to see the signs. And you'll fit in better in society if you speak the same language as everybody else. What's the runaway truck? A stick that was the problem. He couldn't rev it up enough to downshift. You need to an automatic. Well, yeah, if you're out of gear, you're not getting back in, that gear. So get in the correct gear at the top of the hill, and then you don't have any problems, of course. The trucking school rush drivers out of school and only teach drivers how to drive in an automatic. You can go across the mountains in an automatic. I'm sure many thousands of people do every day without killing anybody. You would have sent that truck off the road. I mean, that's easy to say, and I will be honest. That seems like a tough ask to somebody to basically say, I'll kill myself right here. I don't know if people would do that. He should have gone in the ramp. I think that's a lot easier to ask of someone, and it's there for him to use. If he had mechanical issues, why was there a cloud of brake smoke behind him in the video at the bottom? Yeah, no, so he could have only had maybe 3 brakes working. That's a possibility as well. We don't know about that. Preston, creepy cop. What cop follows you around and leaves a note? I don't know if that's even true. There's no way to know if that's kind of a true statement or whatever happened with that, We don't know. Just because somebody puts it out there doesn't mean that, it's true. You're supposed to slow down before going down the hill. Exactly. If you use a truck runaway vamp, you'll be fined. I'd rather take a fine than kill a bunch of people. Did I hear about Williams closing its doors? I did hear about Williams, another trucking company in Alabama, closed its doors. They got the drivers back. Not that that's much consolation, but you weren't stuck on the road. When you got back, you were fired. They told everybody, we're closing our doors. We're done. And that's why I encourage people to have enough money to get back to their house from wherever they are and always be ready with a plan B. You never know when you'll need to get another job. The government says only like 5% of trucking companies are still in business in 5 years. So if you go to work for a small place that has not been open long, it's likely that they'll close their doors. This happens a lot. We just don't hear about it because it's a place, if it has 2 trucks, you never hear about it. It doesn't make the news. This place had, 20 drivers or 50 drivers or something. It wasn't that big. Big enough to hit the news, and plus because Falcon was out. But that was the problem with it. Same thing, underfunded, out of business. Now drivers are looking for a job. It isn't any good. The families of the dead should sue the state of Texas and the company. Well, you'll sue the company. They'll pay. The insurance will pay, and that's it. They'll go bankrupt. You won't get any money. The state will deny anything and say, well, he qualified. That's more, that's all we can do. And usually they exempt themselves from lawsuits conveniently in the law. So for stuff like that, they'll probably exempt. I don't know. He should not have been going that fast. Yeah, you slow down before you go down the hill. Any update on Celadon? No, they're going to pay out their money. And I personally don't know how much longer they'll be open. That's what I think. Can they turn it around? Yeah, maybe they'll turn it into a great place. But, it's one of the largest fines ever paid by a company. So, and they admit wrongdoing. So would I work there? Absolutely not. I wouldn't work there anyway. But this should be enough to let everybody in there be very nervous and move on. You meant to say there weren't those air compressors on the Series 60, belt-driven. Maybe that's what failed. Maybe. Maybe his compressor failed. We don't know what happened. We'll probably never know, right? Use the Jake and keep the brakes cool and fresh. Yes, they should be fresh like a summer breeze. East of California, good. What did you miss? We're talking about this California truck accident. Worst mountain driving you had so far, US 16 in Buffalo. Wyoming in winter with 48,000 of bentonite. Nice. 35-mile uphill and downhill, trying not to overheat the engine, and down not to smoke the brakes. Everything's getting hot. Hot on the way up, hot on the way down. When did Detroit come out with the DD15? I don't know. 2013 or 14. England asked you about being a trainer, and that was during your first couple of months. Hey, why don't you be a trainer? After getting yourself, and then you said, yes, absolutely, I'll do that. Right. Because they either have students or trainers. They don't have any drivers, it seems like. You learn the same way. Unfortunately, modern Jake brakes are retarded as well, because Jake is a name brand. Let's put that out there. Not sponsored by Jake Brake. It's a name brand, like Kleenex. They're called Don't Hold the Truck Like They Used to. Your old truck with an N14 would throw you through the windshields. Some are better than others, agree. Being a driver doesn't qualify you to be a trainer. Trainers should be taught to train. Yeah, and it needs to be something in you to be a trainer. You have to really want to do it. I would take the way that trainers are paid and make it different, so that you wouldn't get any extra money until the student passed all of their exams. You wouldn't get any money then. And so it would be based on what you say. That's how I would do it. And then the trainer would be less encouraged to use you and more encouraged to actually training you. When a brake drum gets hot, they expand and go away from the shoes, exactly. But when the discs get hot, they go towards your brakes. Don't have nowhere else to go, so better braking. Oh, you learned that for automotive. Awesome. 7%. Where's 8%? And I think the law is 7%. Maybe it's for now on or no more. Over 7%, something like that. Cell phone has instant translation. You can't use your cell phone during that test. I'll boot that test right out of you. Timothy, that's not how that works here. No cell phones. All trucks and trailers should have disc brakes before any cameras cause the stop. Okay. I've only had the trailers with discs on them, and you can tell the difference. You can easily tell the difference. The U.S. is an English-speaking country. They should learn English. I agree. Everybody here needs to learn English just to make your life easier in the U.S., right? Cross-border trans is 20. What am I seeing? 20%? Where'd I go off to? I'm lost here. I'm lost. I'm behind. I'm sorry about that. The load 1,200 guaranteed. That's not bad. So 1,200 guaranteed for that, going especially crossing the border. You did it in reverse order. You had to learn Italian right because of where you are, exactly. And over there, you should learn it, right? Yes, Steel Horse, no cell phones allowed. No, you can't be translating on Google Translate. Maine on coastal part is 15 miles an hour. Yeah, some of them are super slow, right? Where's the chance that Freightliner was an automatic? I know somewhere. It's probably unlikely, but it's possible, I guess. It'd be one of the early automatics. Maybe has a mileage limit for the 8%. I'm not sure. I thought it was 7%. Couldn't he have used the trailer brakes? Presumably he's using all of his brakes. No skid marks. That's what I thought on the road. Today's engine brakes are a joke. They aren't Jacobs. They're just exhaust brakes. Well, Jacobs is a name brand. They require high RPMs so trucks can't operate. They aren't compatible. I don't know. I have it on all the time. Talking about Wiley. No, we're talking about Williams truck line here. They don't fine for using the ramp, but the tow bill's $4,000. Still worth it. Worth it. Nobody's dead. Pam requires 3 months to become a mentor. Is that true? Is there somebody with 3 months experience? It's sad when a carrier goes out of business. I agree. A lot of people lose their jobs, livelihoods. Absolutely. You went 70 Denver to Grand Junction in a car, an auto, and 75,000. Jake held the truck on stage 3. Yeah. So that's the speed you should go, 45. Am I a fan of gray bar? I don't know what about gray bar. Nothing will happen in Texas. Yes, that would mean any traffic fatality could be sued by the car or semi. Not happening. I agree. It should, though. If they're going to issue a commercial license, they're going to say this person is a professional. They've passed our test and we're licensing them. Then they should have some responsibility if that person doesn't know what they're doing. You take the dinner pass. You took Donner Pass over 70 in any day. It's not bad. Everybody should go once to go through the Eisenhower Tunnel. What the highest point in the United States, right? In the 48 states. DART requires 6 months experience to become an owner-operator. Let's say it's the highest point on the interstate system in the United States, in the 48 states. 6 months to become an owner-operator. And now, is that an owner-operator, or is that a lease driver who's renting a truck, pretending they're an owner-operator? The only reason you want to work there is you can drive a manual. Well, hopefully they'll still be open by the time you get your license. Super Truckers here, welcome. If you had a CB, that would have came into play. At least you know what's coming down the hill at you. You've heard England is an all right company. You probably heard that from England themselves. 2017 Freightliner. And I lost it again, right? Hot, and it's only May, yes. With the DD-15, yeah. Well, they do have them now. Primary air tanks, as he pumps the brakes on the 20 pounds, are going to come on and hold the brake. That's the thought. That's the problem, is these new trucks don't have as strong as Jakes as trucks with older engines. Cats had good, yes. The Volvo iShift has an engine brake, 8% in California, so maybe it was before a certain period of time. Have you heard anything else about the companies that are shutting down? No, they're just closed. Falcon is getting sued by their drivers, of course, for violating the WARN Act, the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, because they didn't give everybody 60 days notice because they had more than 100 people working there. They'll have to pay it. They'll end up paying it. New England Motor Freight got sued, and they settled that and paid it. And so Falcon will end up paying it, and Williams isn't subject to it, and so nothing will happen to them. There's nothing to do. They're allowed to just go out of business, and you just have to get another job. That's always the downside of being an employee. Whenever you depend on somebody else to write your paycheck, that could end at any time. So always be ready to get another check. You've got 22 years, and you're thinking Sierra England. Yeah, we're all considering going over there. I mean, I can't wait to get over there. Anthony likes the live stream. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. It's every Monday at 1 p.m. for everyone, Eastern. And the show is brought to you by Blue Parrot. This show is brought to us every week by Blue Parrot. I hope that everyone will go get themselves a Blue Parrot to stay legal. And you can go to my links page, which is in the description, I believe, and pick up your own Blue Parrot for yourself. Not a bad company. What you would think it's for beginners. Yeah, it's not even a good company for beginners. Drove down a 24% grade in California for geomines. Okay, well, that's like a mining road then. Went down in fourth gear with jake brake at 12 miles an hour before the no engine braking signs. So they have a no engine brake sign on a 24% grade road. That's awesome. Hey, Kim, what's going on? It's good to see you here today. Salty man, an experienced trainer with 10 years. Should you go out with all new drivers and not go solo and cleared until they should go out with all new drivers and not go solo until cleared? Right, exactly. And trainers, I say, at least need 5 years experience. Just got home and someone hit your Ford F-150 while you're gone and didn't leave a note. That stinks. You should, of course, get the that leads me to saying you should get the dash cam that I had on here, the ASCO dash cam, which would have recorded that for you while you were gone. I hope that you'll pick that up in the future. Likely your company won't pay it. We had somebody that happened to here too, in the yard, and they come in and their car's all bashed up. It was probably one of the truck drivers, and nobody saw anything, of course. And so the company's like, well, you park at your own risk. So I recommend a dash cam. I have one. I've done a video about it. It's also at the links page. You can check it out. But it has a 20-minute battery, so if somebody hits your car while it's gone, you will get the video of it and at least know what happened. Why don't trailers have reverse lights? I don't know. I've seen some that have them on there. You got to click them on. They should. Volvo engine brake is a beast. Max load in Kentucky. Always hold speed. I love it. Your phone battery's about to die. You have to go. Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. You go down 8% in Idaho at 96,000. Have you killed anyone going down that hill? Cops in Texas are the reason why they're largely stopped arresting CDL holders that don't speak English, being mostly Mexican. The ACLU saw this profiling. Yeah, they go, oh, you can't profile people because of the way they look. And so, it's a problem. But in an inspection, you can profile people by saying, can you speak to me in English or whatever, I'm sending you my recent experience hauling the 70,000 Florida ceiling load. Yikes. Okay, I'll check it out. Italian women, I don't know about that. You're having truck issues now. Your Freightliner's dying inside. I thought you were going to get a new truck from them soon, right? One life for 10. It's a problem. 4 people in this accident died and some were sent to the hospital. If your Jake's brake's not holding you, turn your engine fan on and run the rumble strips. You still have a truck that has an engine fan switch on it. Okay. Haven't had that for a while. You'll take the US 6 over the Eisenhower. I think people need to go through the tunnel once. I thought it was a great experience. Checking in from Rancho Cucamonga. What's going on, Kevin? Thanks for coming in here. Super Trucker, no. Is Crab Company back? Well, I mean, that week they certainly deserve being, on that type of list, certainly. But otherwise, we'll go back to normal this coming week. Somebody can work for Pam for 3 months. How can they stay to afford to buy any food? Well, I think Pam goes, that's very good. Pam goes, look, they stayed 3 months. We got a live one here. Let's make them a trainer. Because somebody is still, an alarm probably goes off like at Vegas, like a jackpot machine. As soon as somebody hits their 3 months. The Jake brake is a combination of the trans downshift and closed exhaust valves, and they work okay, but I don't go on huge mountain roads anymore. Prime turned you down. Wow. Going the Maverick route. So Maverick will take you and Prime won't? Do I have any advice on work experience? The issues you took care of your ill mother. Oh, you need to talk to Kim here about that. And don't have the required tax documents. That's a problem. How did Kim, if you're out there, how did you solve that problem? Similar accident to a team. By the time they reached the bottom of the decline, their brakes were gone. They drove into a business at the end of the road and both were killed. That's sad. That's sad. Automatic trucks sense to have better make brakes than standard trucks. Oh, that reminds me. James Faust is normally on here today, and so I like to recognize people that are on here. He's at the oncologist today, so hope everybody will take a moment today to think of him. He's one of the friends of the show. You always see him in the chat, but he had to go to his oncologist today, so let's hope that he gets some good news from that, certainly. In Washington on Interstate 90, just before you enter Spokane, they have no engine brake sign. That's ridiculous. Come on. Interstate shouldn't have no engine brake sign. Stupid people in Washington. If you ever drove a mechanical engine, yes, you could feel the difference. Yeah, with a real Jake. Exactly. That is true. I agree with the experienced trainer. That's what makes me worried about getting into the industry. Well, you can ask them, what are the experience level of your trainers? I think 5 years is good, a road. Did I get Blue Parrot to give me a promo code? No, they never did give me a promo code. I wish. I would certainly give it out there. And so, no, I don't have a promo code. I just have a link to their sale thing, really, to a headset. It's really what it is. And I gave away those Blue Parrots, and I'm still waiting to get some more of them. You do heavy hauling. Your boss told me he'd pay my no Jake brake ticket on any downgrade. Good, but there shouldn't be ones. Hundreds of trucks a day do it no problem, and most are heavy. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people going down there that don't kill everybody. What is the new pay law about? It was put out there on another video by another channel, and there's no new pay law. There's no new law that says you're going to get paid minimum wage or anything like that. There's been a lawsuit and against Pam, really. And Pam will certainly go in and appeal that. It was just a state ruling. That is not going to go federal, believe me. People put some of these videos out that, just as clickbait, basically, because you'll go, oh, I'm going to get paid. You're not going to get paid anything, all right? And what is going to happen? The federal government exempts drivers from minimum wage. We're exempt. Until that law changes, you're not going to get even minimum wage. And the other thing is, don't fight for minimum wage. Please don't think, oh, my God, I'm going to get $7.25 an hour. That's not the greatest thing in the world. You should work to go get paid right now. Don't worry about the government trying to get you paid. Stop working without being paid. It's coming, a new braking system for mountain driving. It resembles a dragster parachute. I've always thought, about that. What about a parachute? What about a tank of water underneath the trailer? That's maybe 50 gallons. And it has sensors, temperature sensors on the brakes. This is just stuff I think about randomly. And at a certain temperature, it releases water onto the brakes, which would cool them much better than air. It cools way better than air. And then they'd get cooled off, and they'd be able to work again. I thought it wasn't a bad idea. I ignore all no Jake brake signs. Yeah, if you think you need a Jake brake, forget that stupid sign. Oh, my gosh, don't kill everybody over it. They assume you automatically stop with an automatic and no control and forget downshifting. You get a helpful beep beep when rolling off the cliff automatically. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you can't downshift yet. Just track the driver's GoFundMe. Thank you. And the number one is closed out and deleted. It appears the remaining has 1,267 raised. And a long list of hate comments. So does that mean that it was closed out? Does that mean you got paid out on it? Because once people give the money, you get the money. If you want an adrenaline rush better than parachute without a parachute, Go on Highway 160 Wolf Creek Pass. Yes, that's exactly correct. Do not go there, until you have some experience. Trailers have reverse lights. They're called flashing hazards. Oh, nobody uses those. Nobody uses those. Other than I see people in the truck stop with their hazards just driving around. Well, what company is teaching this stupid stuff? Reverse lights are called four-ways. US 6 is the hazmat route you have to take. Exactly. You go around the tunnel with hazmat. Although, did you see they're going to change that? They're thinking about changing that, allowing hazmat through the tunnel. You lasted 3 months at Pam. They still owe you money. That's a typical story, of course. Maverick is better than Prime. I would rather see it Maverick, yes. Ever heard from truck companies that snubbed you? Yeah, Crete commented, and I did a video back to them, and Old Dominion wrote to me that some kind of vice president in charge of recruiting apologized and said if I had any questions to call him, and then he hopes that I'll continue to promote Old Dominion and that, he doesn't know what happened. So they were very apologetic about it. But Crete, they're like, yeah, too bad. He's just looking for, attention or whatever. We talked to everybody. So Old Dominion was way better about it. The year 2015 has a fan switch. I haven't seen them in a while. Our Freightliners, we don't have fan switches. The international engine brake is weak. Yeah, especially if you have one of those max forces, because those were just horrible. You always ignore the signs that run that they don't enforce it. They shouldn't enforce it on the interstate. Oh my gosh. The no engine brakes are for trucks with straight pipes. I know these guys put these stupid straight pipes. Newer trucks, you can't hear them. That's true. They wouldn't even know you're running them anyway. I don't understand running these straight pipes. The droning, the sound of it and the droning all day, at least for me, it just seems to make driving too tiring. It's cool when you're driving around town, but forget it, Bill's checking in from West Sacramento, California. Hey, what's going on out there? How many experienced drivers want to put up with new trainees? Not that many. Companies wouldn't want to pay them enough to deal with trainees. Well, they get paid really good money, and I've had some England drivers that have talked to me, and I've had them send me their checks, $2,300, $2,400 a week. Okay, because I said send me 4 checks in a row, so that I know it, and it's true, right? And so that is how much money they make. So they're making, $125, $145. Not bad. Not bad money to, as you say, put up. But somebody's got to train people. There's new people. We can't all just complain. We complain, oh, these new drivers don't know anything, but nobody wants to train them. Somebody has got to train people. Somebody's got it in you to go and change somebody's life, because you're going to change people's lives when you train them. You go out there and say, all right, I'm going to take people, I'm going to train them in the industry, get them a career, change the rest of their life. That's how you have to think about it. That's what you're doing. You're not there to get a paycheck. The money comes later, right? Provide value, and then you get money. So provide value to people, change their lives, and then the company pays you. The interstate was there, then they built 1 million houses in the mountains that don't want to hear it. Yeah, those people, the houses should have double pane glass. They can't hear it. Do we file exempt on taxes? I'm not a tax expert, and I don't exactly know what you're saying there. Exempt. Race trucks use water to cool. Yeah, doesn't it seem like a good idea? You'll warp the drums or rotors putting water in them. You think so? I'm not an engineer. So that would not be a good idea to my water tank and hose idea. I blow the air horn when you see the sign. It doesn't say no air horn blowing. Camera for safety or disc brakes for safety. Safety. I'll keep the disc brakes. They stop 30%. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the camera. That doesn't help me go down the hill, certainly. I'm not sure 100% what it means in regards to the previous account. It could possibly have been shut down or GoFundMe by GoFundMe. It could be. But sometimes, maybe it reached its amount and it paid. Maybe. I'd like to find that out. I had no idea it had a GoFundMe account. Is there a GoFundMe account for the victims? For the people that were hit? How about that? Is there any GoFundMe for them? The parachute can replace the jake brake. Instead of a trailer, we can call it a trailer tail. We can call it a trailer fail. I thought, look, why isn't there a parachute on top or in the back of the trailer that it's attached, and the driver can hit a button and release it? And it inflates. And I thought that wouldn't work as good because of overhead bridges and stuff, overpasses, because it would need to be up, right? It couldn't go directly behind the trailer, I don't think. I think it would have to go up, and I don't know if that would work as good, and it'd have to be really big. So I thought the water would do better. Apparently not. Chris, you haven't been on the last couple of weeks. No problem. Been busy. I appreciate you coming back. Thank you for being here today. So I'm currently on a trip from Wharton, New York to Laredo, over 2,000 miles. That's not a bad run, right? There's some money right there. That's what I like, right? You got your whole week ahead of you. Finally parked after 250-mile day. Wow. You're really pushing it there. Were you able to e-log that? I mean, holy mackerel. Chris is thinking about going back over the road and quitting local. Really? You got to find a job that pays good. Usually it's people going the other way. You still feel like you need training after a year that you weren't trained properly to start with, then really. And, and that's too bad that you think like, oh, I should still have to have a trainer, There's always something to learn, right, as Steel Horse says here. But that you think you still need training. I mean, where did you get training if you want to tell us? All drivers who carry liquid loads that total or 1,000 gallons can carry multiple tanks, 119 gallons or more, that equal 1,000 gallons to have a tanker endorsement. Yeah, they have all these goofy rules about that stuff. The gorge in the Smoky Mountains is a serious proving ground for mountain driving. 2 lanes of roller coaster roads. That's correct, right. And it closes all the time down there for rock slides. Most truck rotors and drums are cast, so no warping. Okay, I'm not sure. I just thought it was a good idea. This is what you think about when Art Bell is on at 2 in the morning and you're thinking, man, what can I think I just solved the entire trucking industry's mountain problem. These driver placement companies that pay by the hour plus overtime are starting to look good. There's more and more of those. Optimum Logistics is running an ad right now in Indianapolis for $28 an hour plus overtime home every day. Not bad. And that's a temp service. The problem with that, if there's a car too close behind you, it's not going to work. Yeah, that's why I thought the parachute would have to go up. So if it was attached up at the top of the trailer, it would lift up and it wouldn't be in the car's face. I don't know. It's just stuff you're thinking about. You have not found any GoFundMe for the victims, but might have just not been able to find it. Yeah, see, that's the thing. The person that runs them over gets a GoFundMe, but the people that died, we can all agree this. They weren't doing anything wrong. They're just sitting there. No matter what the reason that happened, they were innocent, and they don't have a GoFundMe. That's too bad. How about an anchor? Yeah, that'd be an abrupt stop, wouldn't it? If your fuel tanks are 120 gallons a piece or more, you're supposed to have a tanker endorsement. I don't think so. And those together, your DEF gallons, that equal 300. I've had 150-gallon tanks on trucks and not needed any kind of endorsement. They've never said anything about that. So I don't know about the fuel tanks counting like that. Hey, Casey, enjoying the live show from home in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Well, thanks for being on here on live. Gary, 250. Yeah, what the heck? Big day at 250 miles he had, right. For brakes, you can just get 36 cans instead of 30,000. Swift dedicated out of Indy. Is it good down there? What do you think? You got to love it, but how is it down there? Anybody mention cabbage? Nobody has mentioned cabbage yet. 6% grades, which is not super terrible, but it's all the curves that get you there. They built a housing development next to a pig farm and then complain about the smell. Yes, exactly. Ironically, the same kind of thing is happening here. They're going to build a pig farm next to a housing development, and people are all up in arms. But the houses were there first. Put the parachute behind the bumper. Yeah, but I don't know down low if it would catch good because of the air circulation behind the trailer. So I didn't think it would catch good, and that's when I came up with the water solution. How about there's a tank of water underneath the trailer that flows out to the brakes? San, the day Mark decides to stop these live streams will be a sad day. That will be sad. And believe me, I appreciate that anybody is on here, much less 204 people. Thank you for being here. I guess I said poorly. I don't still need a trainer with you. Oh, but I still have questions all the time. Be nice to have a helpline to call. Well, I agree. They're kind of, maybe your company should have a line. That's not a bad idea. If it's a large company, they should have maybe a phone number to an experienced driver. That's actually a very good idea. There could be an experienced driver phone number that you can call in and get the answer to your question. It would be somebody that works at that company, so they would know about that company's policies, how to do paperwork and stuff like that. It couldn't be a random number, I don't think, because each company runs their company a little different. Maybe an experienced driver that is a mentor line, 24-hour mentor line. That's a very good idea. You should suggest that to your company in their inbox or something. I think it's a really good idea. You're $30 an hour for 10 to 12 hours a day, home every day, pulling a dump, $25 an hour for 10 hours, then broke down at home. Is it worth it to go over the road? No. I mean, $300 a day, you're making $1,500 a week and you're home every day. So, I don't think so. Your fuel doesn't count. That's what I'm thinking, right? We had 300-gallon tanks on them, and no problem. Death Proof Mrs. Art Bell. Yeah, R.I.P. to Art Bell. That was a good show. I listen to that all the time. I loved when people would call in from the future. Okay, he would have a future call-in line. Look, anybody who's been driving, listen to Art Bell. So you could call in. If you were from the future and you were here, you could call Art Bell and he would ask you questions about the future. I love it. If you're screaming down the mountain at 80, there are no cars close behind you. Oh, that's a good point, too. You don't want it to be low and go by a car or truck and catch the truck or car in it either, because you're going to be going faster than traffic. You need the parachute to be up above traffic. And because of overpasses and trees, I don't know if the parachute would work as well. All CDL holders should be paid by the hour with overtime. I could not agree more with that. When that day comes, oh, that will be a great day. The company JCT restricts its trucks to drive west of Denver on I-70, even though all drivers are supposed to be independent contractors. Nice. They will fire you. They can't fire you. You're independent. They're not allowed to dictate how you do your job. Just that here's the job. We need it done. That's it. What if they had a valve that's great liquid nitrogen? Oh, that runs into the drums. It wouldn't weigh much. Yeah, but because liquid nitrogen and the temperature, it would have to have a valve. You know, as it turned back into a gas, you'll have to gas that out, and you'd have to constantly refill it. Water would sit there for a long time, but you couldn't keep liquid nitrogen in this tank very long. I don't think that would work as good. And how would you get that down there? That's really something, though, because it's, 200 and some degrees below zero. That's why you see those trucks steaming all the time. That's not steam coming out of there. That's liquid nitrogen turning back into a gas. You can ignore the no Jake brakes if you're driving a fleet vehicle or non-modified or custom exhaust. It's a noise issue because the hillbillies have super loud pipes. Yeah, that's who the sign's directed at. You know, our Freightliners, we have underneath the cab, exhaust. You can hardly hear the thing. Nobody would even notice it. You run cabbage 3 times a week. See a lot of smoking brakes. That's crazy. I go down at 96,000 and go down at 60 and never had an issue. Just have to drive according to experience and your vehicle and everything. Yeah, I totally agree. Right. I totally agree. It's people going down that don't exactly know what they're doing. Reverse thrusters. That's an interesting and I didn't know exactly how to attach rockets to the side of a truck without some kind of special endorsement. Parachute on top of the trailer near the front. The problem is, what about overhanging things? Wires, signs. That's the problem with the parachute. In the Army, they used a halon fire suppression system on wheeled vehicles for brake or tire fires. Oh, that's interesting. Is it coal? You could put CO2 fire extinguishers down there. That would cool them off fast and have a way to open those up. That's not a bad idea, too. CO2, because I don't know if halon is cold or not. I think halon just displaces the oxygen, maybe cold, but CO2 comes out cold, and then we can cool the brakes that way. Hillbillies with super loud pipes, you love them. Yeah, they're around. Salary, off 2 days a week. Your weekly average is $1,500. That's not bad. That's an easy week, right? Let's start a GoFundMe for the families by truckers. Yeah, somebody can certainly go over there and do that. Fuel need to be 1,000 gallons or more to be classified as hazmat. Yeah, the 300 that you're carrying in the truck is not hazmat. A flare that shoots up and back for bad fog. Oh, maybe a fog thing. That'd be interesting. Your dad was all about Art Bell. I love that show. I used to listen every night. Your trainer told you call him anytime after you went solo. That's good. And, that's a good trainer because he probably doesn't get paid for it. So that's somebody who really cares. When they do that stuff for free, they really care about that. And I'm glad that person is being a trainer at that company. We can call any of our company's trainers anytime, night or day. They have a phone number list saved on our ELD. That's really good, too. So some companies are already on top of this. So, and it's a trainer at that company, so they already know the company's rules and how to fill out your paperwork and stuff. That's a really, really good idea. Instead of a parachute, drive flatbed and use your tarps. Yeah, just have a reverse tarp on there. Have I heard of $5 mile loads? If so, yeah, probably some kind of radioactive load. I'm not an owner-operator, so someone here can chime in if there's some kind of $5 loads around. You heard a rumor about new hours of service rules are going to be announced. Do I know anything about it? I have heard something about it. And so let's get back to that. And we're back, as they say. Yes. Okay, so the rules are going to be announced June 7th. June 7th. New rules will be announced. So that's nice. And that's all they've said about it. So I don't know what they're going to announce. And hopefully we will find out at that time. Let's hope we get our per diem back. They are thinking about changing that. Coast to Coast is still in the air. That's right. It's not the same show. I mean, there's nobody can replace Art Bell. George is good, but Art Bell was the best. Martin hires only experienced drivers and still assigns an experienced driver to call. They should. That's a really good idea. Apparently, companies are all about this already. AJ got on One Live. A shout out from Kansas City. What's going on out there? Cops got all of us moved off the road waiting to get a door to be unloaded. Nice. The cops come. Water on the hot bricks would blind people with all the steam. At least you wouldn't crash into and die. And like somebody said, if you're going down 80 miles an hour, there's nobody that close to you. And plus, it would stink. They would get stinked out of there. A lot of truckers called into Art Bell. That's true. He would get upset because he'd be moving while they were on the phone and keep cutting off. Yeah, he would. That is very annoying for many of these shows. That's how to keep the truck brakes cool in Germany for the truck racing. That's not a bad idea, right? You're sick of driving a neutered truck. Yeah, we all are, but that's how it goes today. Can you put wings underneath the trailer and pull a string to deploy them? I don't know. I don't know what that would solve. They've got nozzles that will automatically activate the fire extinguisher. All right, so that's a solution. That isn't actually a good solution. Mount those under there, and the nozzle that can be activated automatically through a temperature sensor on the brakes. That would be very good. Water-cooled brakes were a thing back in the 50s and 60s. Somebody beat me to this too. Yikes. Halon is cancerous. Well, halon. Really? What if they had something built into the drivetrain like an electrical recovery power generator? Woo. That would work with the engine brake just like the engine brake. But what would we do with this electrical power? Peterbilt 379 charged up in his back. We use them on combines. So we're generating power and then we store it. What do we do with it though? When you rapidly cool metal, it becomes fragile. I'd rather you did that though than killed everybody. You saw a GMC cab over. Wow. Yikes. Water's more available. Water's easier to get. The fire extinguisher would get him colder faster. CO2's colder. But you could fill the water right back up. Coast to Coast AM, been a fan for many years. I love it, right? Love the show. Doesn't Swift have a driver mentor program? A lot of them do. Yeah, a lot of these companies have some driver trainer program. What if you unlock your fifth wheel, set the trailer brakes as a last resort, then punch your fuel pedal and just take your trailer wreck instead? Oh, that's interesting. You'd have to set your brakes and be in neutral. Would it unlock? I think it would unlock. It depends if there's a sensor on the wheels. If it reads wheel speed instead of brake placement. So that's interesting. If that could work, but then your trailer could still go kill a bunch of people. A parachute is not going to help and going to burst your bubble, and those are the size to float a tank. That's what I'm saying is the parachute would have to be really, really big. Jiffy Pop would be great as a hot brake alarm. Put them, you've got a snack while the brakes cool down. Oh, that's a good idea too. You got a snack to wait for the tow truck. Yellow got forced to sign their contract or they're going to close their doors. Union drivers got hosed again. I heard that they were going to approve the contract. I don't know any of the details of what the contract is. And since you seem to know about it, how did they get hosed? I'm curious about that, really. CDL training in the USA is too lax. I totally agree with that. It is very lax here. You can't unlock the fifth wheel unless the tractor brake is set. Yeah, but we're saying you could set the brakes. If they were overheated, they'll set and you'll still be driving. So $5 a mile is rare. You saw and hauled several $3 a mile. Not bad. Currently hauling deck boards for about $3. So gypsum load pays well. That's pretty good. $5 a mile for short hauls. All right, that's one way. We use automatic fire extinguishers on combines. That's not a bad idea. If you could CO2 it up in there. You agree with him as a fellow German? Just haul gypsum for $7.50 a mile for 97 miles. That's all you have to do that day then. You have a manual fifth wheel, so that wouldn't work. You're going to need a really long fifth wheel puller. To you, trucking has to do with common sense and respect for the road and the equipment. Yes, I agree, right? That's not common anymore. Part of it in the U.S., you can get a CDL just by basically going down there and asking for a CDL. It doesn't make any sense. There's no standard of training. You can go get your car license basically, just by going down and getting it. It just doesn't make any sense here. Weigh your truck after you fuel, of course. Seems obvious, but you learned after training. Yeah, look, what I tell people is to fill up before you go load. How about that? Because they'll load you, right up to where you're fueled. Oh, how much fuel you have? A quarter tank? Great. And they know to put extra on you. Fill up before you go pick your load up. I know companies tell you go in empty. I don't care. Fill up first and then go get your load so that you don't have to stop every 3 hours to get 10 gallons of fuel to try to get across the country. Go in at least at 3/4 everywhere you load if possible. You haul foam and dirt at $3 a mile. That's pretty good. Somebody would need a trailer that would do that. The lack of quality CDL training is the reason we have electronic babysitters. Well, no, the lack of CDL training, the people cheating their logs is why you have an electronic babysitter in your truck. Every driver, was out there cheating their logs, and so we had to get an ELD to get everybody on board with the actual logging because the electronic babysitter didn't change the logs, right? So the laws didn't change, just everybody has to now follow them. Not every truck, you're still running paper. You have one of the older trucks, right, or an older engine. Art died a couple years ago. Yes, George Norrie is on Coast to Coast, exactly. YRC took a pay cut 15% years ago. That's true, a couple years ago. New contract is an 18% pay raise over 5 years. So they'll get 3% over 10 years. CEO got an $8 million raise. That's awesome. That's pretty good. So you're basically back to where you were, really lower than it would have been. Because if you just got regular raises. Do you still have free health insurance? Walmart has CDLs for sale in the clearance box. And I also think you can get a copy of Men in Black, the first one there, for the same price. The reason for electronic babysitters is the old hogs that cooked the books and drove 20-hour shifts. Yes, that's exactly why people were cheating, and so that's why you get an electronic log. What about a wire system like aircraft carriers? The driver hits a beacon on the dash, and the nearest wire pops up and hook deploys. Wow, I don't know about that. What about the people behind the truck when it instantly stops and you get ejected out of the windshield? Al, what's going on? Good to see you today. That'll send the freight sliding through the trailer. That'll send the driver out the windshield. And what about the people behind him? So I don't know about how that might work. In Germany, the requirements for a car license are about like you get a CDL here. A CDL in Germany is now, I think, 3 months of school. Wow. And they require it? Good. As long as they monitor that people are actually being trained to do something. Livestock, household, and aircraft engines all pay $4 a mile. How many people are hauling aircraft engines? Is there a huge call for that? Why can't you get rid of the 14-hour rule and 34-hour rule and everything will be happy? Not by me. How many hours a day do you want to work, Bill? Let's ask that. So say we get rid of that, 14 hours, 34 hours. How many hours do you want to work a day? I love your paper and you won't drive when you're tired. That's common sense. That's how it should be. But as you know, the other side of it is that this holds the companies accountable too, or they'll make you drive 24 hours a day. So it holds the companies as well. You had a yellow recruiter call you and say you have to load trucks. Yeah, you start on the dock, right? It's a dock driver position or something like that. They pay you the same, though, either way. It reminds me they should lower the hours of service, 11 hours out of 11. That would be a lot better, I think. You see SPD uses big house trucks to haul jet engines. There can't be that many of those is what I'm saying. CDL, not a forklift license. They pay you either way, though. Pays the same. Water brakes are old school. They were around in the 60s. Why did we get rid of them? Did it not work? It seems like a great idea. A simple solution. A tank under there that can be filled anywhere. A sensor at the brakes. It releases the water when the brakes are at whatever temperature is hot for a brake. The best idea to avoid brake failure is to learn to inspect the brakes and drive safely. Well, that is absolutely true. What's the best deal? Border Patrol's checking our hours too. I didn't know Border Patrol could check your hours. I've never had them do that. Heck, they seem really lax too. Are you American? Yep. Okay. See you later. So I didn't know that they're checking hours of service. Where are they doing that? James, thanks for the great video. You enjoy watching it and learning a lot. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you being here today. Thank you. There's so many governed trucks that if you don't have a governor, you're governed 80% of the time. Yeah, most of the time you can't get going anywhere. I see this every day, and I feel bad for that. All vehicles should go the same speed, whatever that speed is. The old drivers want to work all day when really they should want to be paid for everything they do. Work less and make more. That's exactly correct. I mean, who wants to work 40 hours a day or whatever? Oh my gosh. What sense should you expect from a decent company for a student well in the 40s? 40 plus would be where you should start to talk to places. Which companies in California or Western states do I recommend if you just got to see it? It's harder to get on out west, certainly. I think Dot Foods is out there doing stuff, though. YRC still gets company paid benefits, so that's nice, but their pension is still garbage. Smartest thing, UPS was buy out the Teamster pension. UPS pension is great. That's still, look, I think you should get a raise like all drivers, but I still think that you probably have a better deal, and you'd probably agree, than most drivers in the industry, even with the deal that you have. Cost of living should be 10%. Well, that'd be really something. You'd be getting a lot of money. Stab those brakes. They checked your bills on I-10. They checked your bills on I-10. That's to see what you have in there. That's not an hour's check, though. Spoke to a FedEx driver making over $30 locally. Half was 53. Half of 53 foot. There was only 1 year. Yeah, not bad. $30 an hour. That's pretty good money, right? Although I don't think FedEx pays overtime. And that's not done with a knife. It could be done with a knife. 70 should be the standard. They're thinking about going to 70 in Indiana. What if we had engine and exhaust brakes at the same time? Oh, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Border Patrol in Laredo always says they don't want, when we tell them I'm not a U.S. citizen. Are you not a U.S. citizen? And they don't want to hear it. You go, no, I'm not a U.S. citizen. Then they ask you if you have any cigarettes in there? Because that's always the thing that they ask you going into Canada anyway. Peterbilt, what's the first company I drove for? I drove for Economy Transport in Chicago, Illinois, right out of truck school. They had 2 straight trucks, which were Mercedes straight trucks of all things. A GMC Brigadier, which was my truck, and they had a Ford 8000, which was a twin screw truck, which you would drive at the Brigadier, which was a single axle, 5+2, so it had a 2-speed rear end. If that truck couldn't handle the load that you were going to get that day. And that was local Chicago driving. And I got paid $250 a week salary in 1988. So that was my first experience. And I have 20 stops a day around Chicago. Awesome. Enough about brakes. If you're professional, you know what to do. You should know what to do. I'm a FedEx Freight driver. Do you get overtime at FedEx Freight? I don't think they pay it, but I'm not sure. So I'm asking. Southern Pride Trucking out of San Diego is big in the aircraft industry, really. Most of the trucks have those super duper big sleepers. Those big super duper sleepers, right. They should. If they're getting $4 or $5 a mile, they ought to, right? Working on the LTL in Memphis, apparently it's tough to get in here because it's still a good place to work. The Fords were good trucks. Yeah, it had a front brake limiting valve on it, right? Amazing truck. It did good. It had power steering, and it had an automatic. It had automatic valves in front of the radiator. So as the truck would warm up and cool, these valves would open and close like that in front of the radiator throughout the day. Really something. I thought it was amazing. Then I hear I'm 21 years old. Holy moly. 68 cents a mile and $28.83 an hour. City drivers get overtime after 8. Line haul, no overtime, but delay after 30 minutes. Okay, well, so that's still pretty good. That's 68 cents is more than most people get. And, with most of your time certainly paid. That's still pretty good. And free health insurance. That's why, I recommend people that want to go local maybe check into Yellow. Christopher is late, but I appreciate you coming in. What motor did the Mac R model? I did have an R model Mac when I drove for, I don't remember the name of that place. I drove containers around Chicago. We had R model Macs at that place. I don't know if those had Mac engines in them or not. It seems like some of them were gold Macs and some were silver. So I don't know if it had a Mac engine or not in it. Probably because it had a 5-speed. 5-speed. So I think that one was all Mac, I think. In pilot training, they teach you to fly, but also what not to do, so you don't get in a position to crash. Maybe we should do this more for CDL. That's very good. They should incorporate some of that pilot training into truck driver training. I mean, if we want to be considered professionals, we've got to be professional. You would have taught Southern Pride, thought they would be a Southeastern Trucking Company. Doesn't sound like a company name for California. Well, they're in the south of California, right? No overtime at Yellow? Really? 23 city drivers get overtime after 8 hours. He's saying city drivers get overtime after 8 hours, right? So overtime at Yellow, overtime past 8. Saw an ad for local straight truck for Amazon, delivery 18 to 20, and an assistant with you for carrying 50-pound boxes. Well, you can get $18 an hour, And do you have to own that? Because, okay, so Amazon does these straight trucks. You can buy a Sprinter van from Amazon and start your own business and be a millionaire. And you deliver all these packages. So is this an ad for you to buy the truck and that's how much you'll net? Or is this someone who has bought the truck and they bought several trucks, which Amazon encourages, and you drive for them as a 1099? So which one is that? Ontario has Melt, which is for their poutine and for the training, started July 1st. 103.5 hours. Why do they pick these weird amounts? Right? 36.5 hours, 10 chapter, 17. Okay. All right, so they at least have some kind of standard. Maybe that's R&L. Yeah, I mean, Yellow is a Teamster. They're going to pay overtime, I think. Do I know what a brake saver is? I've seen a lot of old 359s out of a Jake and a brake saver. I don't know what that is on those. Williams from Alabama shut its doors last week, had about 50 drivers, right? They closed. At least they got the drivers back to the terminal, unlike some places, Falcon, that left their drivers out. But they got the drivers back, closed their doors. Drivers are out of work. Hardly any company makes it, okay? The government says only 5% of companies last 5 years. So if you're going to work somewhere, it's likely that they're going to close, especially if it's a small place. Always be ready to go to the next company. It's just a paycheck. You never know when you're not going to get it. When you rely on someone else to pay your bills, you never know if that's ever going to end. After Humboldt accident in Alberta, they're now implementing it. So maybe we'll get something going on here. At least maybe Colorado will do some kind of mountain training. You see drivers driving with their feet on the dashboard. That's bad and impressive at the same time. Don't hit anything but the lottery. Oh, that's good. It's a third-party company looking for Amazon drivers. Right, so it's somebody that's bought trucks. So they're going to put you on, and it's probably 1099. That's how they usually do it. I'm not saying that about this. So for 1099, no thanks. In a straight truck, I mean, you'll have no experience. If you ever wanted to go back and drive a truck, remember that. You don't have any recent trucking experience, you go back as a student. Go make $25, $30 an hour driving a semi as an employee. Autonomous electric trucks going to take over within the next decade. Daimler thinks so. Oh, that'd be the last people I'd think about is Chrysler. They can't even get rid of their own cars, much less anything else. But seriously, no way. 10 years take over? No way. No way. 30 years when they start getting a few of them on the road seriously. Why are there 3-foot truck fleets going 6 years? There are some, but only 5% of companies last past their 5th year in trucking. That's what the government said on that. So, yeah, some go on 6 years. They do. Remember, 3 trucks, they can close tomorrow. Just like any large place, any small place, always be ready. That's all I'm saying. Just be ready to go to the next place. Always just be set to go. Have a savings fund and be ready to go. If autonomous trucks take over, you'll sit up and watch Maximum Overdrive all day. That will be what we'll all have to do. I'll never see it happen. Panther Logistics runs trucks with sleepers for team drivers because you see ads for running teams with trucks. Yeah, exactly. Is Ruan any good? I know a person that works for Ruan hauling milk, and it pays pretty good. But Ruan is one of those logistics companies like Hogan and all those. They're hard to pin down because everywhere they are, they do something different. So it depends what they're doing near you. Up here, they run milk for around $228 a day for 10 hours of work, and they're home every day. It depends what the account is near you. You've seen trucks hauling Falcon trailers lately recover. It could be recovering. You know what? They could be stolen. Some of the Aero stuff just got stolen from wherever people left it. It's possible either way. Which company do I recommend to start working in any state with a fresh CDL? I'd probably call Maverick first. And just talk to them and see what the deal is, and then start calling other places and compare. Should you consider moving if you can't find a decent company? Yeah, you should move out of California anyway. You'll save a lot of money. But yeah, if you want to move, it's certainly worth moving. Look how much money you might save. The trucks will always have drivers. Oh my gosh, we'll all be dead before trucks drive themselves around all around the country. Even Peterbilt 379. The problem is that mega carriers have ruined the freight rates. That's what's lowering the rates, is the large carriers. Chrysler owns Freightliner and Western Star. No, not anymore, right? Fiat owns Chrysler, and didn't they divest themselves of that? You're expanding, just not as quick, right? The 2025 Freightliner starts production on full autonomous trucks. They might start production on a few of them. They are not going to be big. They're not even allowed on the road yet. They'd have to get every law changed because they're not even allowed to be on the road without a driver in them. And look, Teslas keep running into concrete barriers and stuff. No way. I mean, come on. We will all be retired when self-driving trucks hit the road, at least. Yeah, retired or dead. The grade on I-west of Calexico is the desert version of Cabbage. Very curvy, steep drop. You pray for the new people with little or no training. See, that's the thing. We shouldn't have to do that, though, right? We all the people in the cars and other trucks, why should we have to be risking our lives because companies enrich their CEOs and owners because they refuse to train people properly? You'll probably be an owner-operator by the time self-driving trucks become a problem. Yeah, I don't even think it may or may not even affect you. Who will pre-trip, post-trip fuel and drive trucks around this city? Well, they'll have people to do that, right? They'll just have somebody that they give $10 an hour to do that kind of stuff, to fill it up and stuff. So that can be solved. That kind of problem can be solved. And city drivers will be the last ones to be automated, and that's a long way away. But the long distance stuff, yeah, that will eventually become automated. There'll be yards, and from there, the trucks will cross the country to another yard and then be delivered locally by a local driver. That's how it will work first. Because you can put big tanks on a truck that never stops or idles. It'll run all the way across the country on a tank of fuel. Mercedes has a good autonomous truck system that they developed in Germany. Kind of wish we could get some of the stuff over here, like decent airbag systems. You can get airbags. Volvo's got them. And a working distance control. It sort of works, although I don't like it. It's not great. They have distance on them. It's super not great. Just tuned in again. Falcon double flatbed sitting on the Ohio Turnpike waiting to be towed. Yeah. They're going back now to their owners. Would I want to drive that R model or old Brigadier today? No way. Oh my gosh. That R model was falling apart. I don't know how many miles it had on it. Nothing worked because it was just containers around Chicago. None of the gauges worked on it at all. So, and the Brigadier was in better condition. I mean, that was okay. But the R model, oh my gosh, was a rust bomb. Every part that was metal was rusted. Falcon had a container division in Savannah. All their lease drivers had trucks repossessed. Yes, that's correct. Look, when you lease a truck from a company, you don't own that truck. That truck remains the property of the lessor. That's in your contract. That's the person that you're leasing it from. In the event of a collapse like this, the equipment is owned by them. They get it back. So either you have to pay it off right then or give it back and you lost all the money you put in it, all of it, because you're renting it from the lessor. Remember that. It's a risk you take. Freight Shaker is owned by Daimler, the same company that owns Mercedes. All right, so they still own them? Well, that's something. Self-driving trucks, like 99% of Swift drivers. Nice. Daimler used to own Chrysler, and now Fiat. Right, so that, because Fiat said, look, we can come in and we'll make the cars as reliable as our other Fiat vehicles. Look it up on YouTube. Self-driving truck just drove from San Diego to Jacksonville. Yes, it does, right. There's somebody in the truck. Look that up. Fully implemented in 5 years. Number one, they got to change the laws. They got to convince Edna, who votes, who's 100 years old, that the self-driving truck is not going to run her over and all that. But there's somebody in the truck. There's an official driver in that truck. The truck might have driven itself, but there's still a driver in the truck. Every time a company makes a self-driving vehicle, they wind up causing death. Uber, right, their car, which was a Volvo, killed somebody on their first run. You don't see it self-driving semis. No, it won't be anytime soon. And part of that was Uber, because Uber admitted that they defeated part of the Volvo sensing system on that car. So they're going to be in a lot of trouble for that. I was wondering if you're hauling bottled water. How many gallons is that? A lot. Oh my gosh. You saw a Yankee trailer on a train a couple days ago. That's something. No speedometer. Oh, yeah, you didn't. No, in Chicago, look, in Chicago, you didn't need gauges or anything. Where we're going, you don't need gauges. Yeah, plus, you're never going that fast. But yeah, no speedo, no tack, no nothing. Nothing worked. Nothing on the dashboard worked on that truck. Radio, nothing worked. I don't know what was wrong with it. How does a self-driving truck run a PTI and have a bill of lading signed and chipper and raise and lower its landing gear? Well, it'll be already hooked up at yards. This is what they've said, and I think that's how it'll work. Kind of like the triples on the toll road, where they're go just a spot to spot, and then they're broken down. It'll go across the coast already. And a local driver will bring the trailer out to a lot. He'll switch it to the self-driving truck, or there'll be somebody there, and then it'll go on its way. And at the other end, a local driver will deliver it. That'll be the beginnings of autonomous trucks. The over-the-road drivers are the first ones to go in autonomous, certainly. Daimler owns Western Star, right? We found that out. Can you claim per diem being 1099? Employee, you can't be 1099 and an employee at the same time. As a 1099, you're an independent contractor. You're a businessman. You don't claim per diem. You claim self-employment tax. You claim Schedule C business expenses. You're a businessman. You're running your own business. Fix it again, Tony. Yeah, Fiat, exactly. Oh my gosh. Years ago, I looked at a Triumph TR7. I'm glad I didn't buy that car. It started the day I went and looked at it, but I didn't buy it. Oh, how bad would that have been? Worse than a Fiat. How many years have we waited for hours of service change? Years. Okay, so June 7th, I meant to tell you this too. They're going to announce on June 7th. I'll have a video out that day about whatever they say. Okay, I'll put a video immediately out about it. You'll get it. Then 49-day, look, I didn't make this up, 49-day waiting period where you can comment. It'll be a public comment period for 49 days. Then the rules will go into effect. So you're looking at, late July for the rules to go into effect. So they're going to be announced June 7th, 49-day comment period, then rules go into effect. That's how it works. That's what they said at the moment. I'll be out. I'll be on it right away. Self-driving trucks don't self-refuel, right, but you don't have to pay a CDL driver to fuel the truck. When platooning comes in, they go downhill. The first truck loses control. Does that mean the other trucks lose control? Going 80. Hopefully the autonomous truck wouldn't be going 80 down the hill, we would hope. If people don't trust self-driveless cars, what makes them think the public will be all right with driving trucks? I agree. Well, who would trust a car to drive itself? I don't. Distance control here is flaky at best. Too many false positives. Yeah, like road signs, ducks flying around, bugs. Yeah, rain. What's the fastest the R model Mac could go? I don't know. It was a 5-speed only, believe it or not. And none of the gauges worked. So it went on the highway. I went up with traffic. So I was staying with everybody in traffic. So 55, 60, I don't know. Starsky Robotics is running ads for drivers to run autonomous trucks. That's funny. We need a driver to drive our self-driving truck. I'd like to see how that ad works. What's up with the truckers passing other truckers in narrow construction zones when signs say do not pass? Yeah, I agree. What's up with that? Who's got one of those on video? Let's get that up here. Send me that video. Greyhound needs self-driving buses. Yikes. Did the Brigadier have an old screaming Detroit in it? Yes. And a 5+2, which I didn't know how to use when I first got in the truck. I didn't realize there's a low and a high. So I'm just going down the highway, in 5 in the rear end in the low speed. So it was really super loud until I learned that one. I can't see a self-driving truck hauling cattle or hauling heavy equipment. I don't know. It might be more stable. It doesn't have to stop hauling cattle. How about that? It could get the cattle where it's going without stopping. So might get an hour of service change? Yes, you're going to get an hours of service change. They said there are going to be changes made. You can't see a self-driving truck pulling a 70,000-pound container? Maybe. I don't see why they couldn't. June 7th, workday will be 16 hours. It better not be. Okay, Kyle, when you get over there, get out. Yeah, I think that somebody would have to unload him at the end. It would have a robot to stick him with that poker stick. Worse than a Fiat, a Hugo. Yeah, I knew a guy that had a Hugo. That was terrible. What will a self-driving truck? Will the self-driving truck take the emergency ramp? Yeah, you could program that in there, right? Presumably, it would go down the hill at a speed that is safe, based on road conditions and everything else. The potential is huge in it. Okay, I'm not discounting that. It would do a better job than a driver. It's not thinking about taking a day off or that it's sick that day or something at their family. They're yelling at their spouse or whatever. It's not thinking about anything but driving. Just like the Terminator has a single focused, goal of killing everybody and getting its load there on time. That's what it's going to do. You'd love to see there when their self-driving trucks get pulled into port of entry. Yeah, well, it'll just park there and they'll go examine it or whatever, and that'll be it. Maybe it'll send a message in that's, in Morse code or something. Mercedes owns Detroit. Is that where they run better now? The first time a truck hits black ice, it's over. Well, see, I think the wintertime is going to be the worst problem for it. There's no reason it can't read road speed conditions. It could read the road temperature conditions that we don't know about and know if the road is possibly going to freeze. Unlike with the e-logs, other regulation drivers will comment on their opinions instead of just complaining and not commenting. I hope everybody does comment, and I'll have the information out to comment as soon as they put it out on how we can comment on what they say. I-40 near Oklahoma City has the worst construction. See, a self-driving truck wouldn't care about that. That's the other thing about it. It doesn't need to have a 30-minute break. It doesn't need anything. How come you rarely hear about two-stroke Detroits? Oh, my gosh. They would never pass emissions now. You cannot add oil into burn oil all day like that, even more, and get that going. No way. Self-driving truck blows steer tire. That should be interesting. Yeah, that'll be a disaster, but it will know what to do. It'll have already been programmed, right? A week is 7 days, not 8. That's the change you want to see. All right, that's an interesting change. They didn't mention anything like that, so I don't think that's going to happen. You feel bad for the generation of kids that won't be able to get truck drivers to honk the horn. Oh, the self-driving truck, they should put a sensor on there. If they see a kid doing that, then they could honk the horn for him. A lickety-split. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's tough to do. But like I said earlier, years ago, which I have a picture of, which I have yet to have the courage to post, right? I lost over 100 pounds and right at 100 pounds. So I know I can do it again. I've put back 60 or 70 pounds of that. It's time to get this weight off for good. I mean, getting in my extreme upper 30s, a lot of things can happen to you. My doctor's appointment went good last week, but who knows how many more of those I have. Let's not cut our life shorter than they already are. I mean, gee whiz. It can't anticipate drivers it shares the road with. That's true, but it'll keep more following distance than drivers do today. How are you going to keep the ice answers clean when you got snowstorms and threaten to take us up on it? That could be a problem. I know some of the Freightliner Sentries have Mercedes motors. Those were a disaster. Oh my gosh, those were a total mess. You could hear it. It had a distinctive sound, and it just wasn't made for the long-haul trucking that we do here in the United States. They just could not stay together. 700,000, they were needing end frames on them. Those were horrible engines. Trucks on 81 in Virginia, truck wrecks. Yeah, every day. That's certainly correct. Wait till they start tolling 81. The Detroit True Truck had a blower and turbo. How to use a Jake brake and cylinder has ports. Oh my gosh. Then that's when trucking was really trucking, right? The kittens are attacking your phone. Am I the cat whisperer? I don't know. My cat is... she's not out here today, so I guess she went in the back to watch the birds. Self-driving trucks could potentially be hacked and used as mass destruction. Maybe. But why don't people just do that now? Every truck in the truck stop's running, especially in the summer. Somebody could just jump in the truck now and go do that with it, and that doesn't really happen. Why not just develop actual robots to drive the trucks? They could get out and do the actual physical work. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? It's bad enough that nobody will be in it. Can you imagine somebody going by a truck and there's a robot driving the truck? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that going through like the hills and the Carolinas and Georgia? Those trucks that all have shotgun shot holes in them and everything. Oh my gosh. Would I ever do container work? Sure, if it paid enough. Electric trucks, but I'm getting kind of lazy, so I don't like to do a lot of work. Electric trucks will also be rechargeable, moving with combination wind and solar covered perpetual nonstop running. I don't know about that. There's no reason they couldn't put solar panels all over the top of them right now. Many drivers are worried about automated trucks replacing them, but rational adult would tell you automated trucks are a lifetime away. People don't think about it. They see one truck hauls a load of beer, and they think they're going to be out of work. Not going to happen. Self-driving trucks will be in the market, will be ready before cars. Well, Tesla's pretty far on it because it's easier to fit all the sensors and redundant safety systems in and save weight compared to the average trucker. So the sensor system's way less than the driver does. That's probably true, right? I think Tesla's pretty far on the cars, though, and they're still horrible. Here, the two-stroke Detroit Jakes aren't really that problem. Nice. I think drivers today are robots already. Some of them are. Some of them think like a robot, and they should think like a person and go get paid for their time. I'll run every self-driving truck off the road. It'd be interesting to pull in front of them and see if it slows down or what it does. Cost will be the biggest issue. Yeah, they're going to be super expensive to start, and the liability will be incredible for companies, especially until they're really put out there. When you get all this new technology, it's going to be large companies first that have the money and the insurance to take care of this. A robot flipping you off will be a nice change. Oh, that's awesome. If we can have robots. Oh, will they talk in their robot voices? It'll sound like everybody's Stephen Hawking on the CB. That'd be great. What change is coming? They didn't really say. You know, they're talking about the 30-minute break is going to change. That's what they said. And so I thought, I guess maybe it's not going to go away. So that leads me to believe that the 30-minute break will be whenever you want to take it. That's kind of the way it read. Now, they haven't announced anything. It's just my thoughts. They also said that the split sleeper, they were going to improve the split sleeper, and what they've always talked about that is that you'd be able to split it however you wanted. So instead of having to do an 8 and 2, it can be any combination as long as one portion is at least 2 hours. So 7-3, 6-4, however you want to do it in 2 sections. That would work out a lot better for the split sleeper, certainly. And the other stuff, who knows? Are they going to add the 3 hours? It didn't look like that. People wanted 3 extra hours. I don't think that's going to happen at all. They did say that they may allow 2 hours for of extra driving based on conditions. So I don't know if they're talking about, like if there's a snowstorm, you can drive 2 more hours, which, past your 14 hours. I don't know what they'll do with that. They weren't really very clear on it. So until June 7th, we really won't know 100% what they're going to do. You were asking about how did the Jake work on a two-stroke. I never drove a two-stroke Detroit, so I'm sure we have some driver here that's driven one. How would that work on there? Maybe we could have a strip drivers to destroy all the self-driving trucks. Some of them probably will, except they'll never be parked anywhere to get hit. All in the salt in the winter going to eat up the wiring in the winter, shorting out the electronics. That's what it does now on trucks now because people don't wash their trucks and their cars. Wash it. 30 minutes will be any time during your shift. That's what I think as well. They didn't officially announce anything. Okay, so this is not some kind of official announcement. But I think they're going to allow you to take it. I thought they were going to eliminate it, but it doesn't seem like what they said that I don't think they will. But they may allow you to do it whenever you want. Only one way to deal with self-driving trucks is to shotgun to either steer tire. You would have to stop then and call a self-driving repair truck to come out and fix it. Oh, what if that thing had a robot in it? Oh my gosh. A big issue will be how autonomous vehicles deal with accidents and need to follow the reroute. That's what I thought too. Oh my gosh, it's been a few months now. I was on 74 and the cops, there was a huge accident. It was going to be closed all night. And they were having everybody turn around through one of those turnaround things in the center where the cops sit to give you tickets. And I thought, what would a self-driving truck do here? So we all made a U-turn and had to go back on the other side because they had traffic stopped over there. A self-driving truck would have in its software that you're not allowed to go through there. So I don't know if it would sit there or what they would do with it. I usually take my 30 at about 6 hours. I don't see why it's such a big deal. Well, I wanted it eliminated because they added the 30 minutes and didn't pay you for it. So really what it did is take 30 minutes out of your day with no pay, which I didn't like. So if they would just let you do it whenever you wanted, I guess that'd be better than it is now. I don't know about mandating 30-minute break. Parking is hard enough as it is. A robot cussing you out on a CB, your mother was a snowblower, and that's good. While we're on the subject of the future, why not use Elon Musk's Hyperloop for cargo instead of just cars and shoot them from terminal to terminal? You probably could, right? But that's, only goes to a specific location. I guess you could dig one and Hyperloop it all the way from Chicago to LA or whatever. There's no reason he couldn't make one. What would be the cost of hauling freight in that thing, though? And why couldn't they just add freight cars to the passenger things down there? Prior to working for the Korean Mafia, you worked for the Polish Mafia. Oh, good. Well, you go from one to the other, pulling Amazon from Phoenix to Denver. They gave the contract to trucking companies hire us, and of course, we're all missed. Oh, great. Maybe not have to be 30 minutes altogether. Maybe if you want 3 10-minute breaks. Oh, a total of 30 minutes. That'd be an interesting way to do it. I never thought about them doing it that way. Where you could split your break up too. When you team, you do a 4-8 split. That would work too under the new system. Well, it actually works under the old system, right? Because you can do 2 and 8, so 4 and 8 also works. And when you team, you don't have to do that, right? You can do however you want. Hey, there's Wild Bill. Thanks for coming in today. You hate your job. You know you love your job, though. That means you love it. Yet there are some that would kill to have it. Oh, boy, that's really something. You don't like it, but there are others that would love it. You never know where you are, you don't like. And that's the thing about all these companies, right? I've been here for years. People come and they quit in a month and don't like it. You just never know. The day self-driving trucks come out is the day the Great American Truck Show, and the Mid-America will no longer exist. No, they'll have those there for companies to come and look at and everything, the same as always. Yep. Just take the 30-minute break away, keep the 14-hour, and give you 2 hours of drive time. That's an interesting way to do it. How about just give you 14? How about this? Take the 30 minutes away, which I never liked. Mandating you stop 30 minutes is crazy, especially when you're not paid for it. How about give you 14 hours and just 14 hours to do whatever you want? How about that? 30 minutes is so long. Split it up into 2 15 minutes. That's not bad, too. I just liked it to go away completely, where you don't need it at all. But, yeah, how about 14 hours and you decide? I could go with that. So 14 hours of driving, or as much as you could get with the pre-trip and everything, or 10 and 4, or however you want to do it. Then you can decide your day. Because this 3 hours, 11 hours, and then 3 more hours of on duty is not working. The world will end in 12 years, according to the Democrats. Oh, so we'll never see a self-driving truck? Well, that stinks, because I was hoping to get to see some of them at least. I bet Western Distribution would still keep real drivers. Oh, good. Well, sure. They can, for what they're paying, it's cheaper for them to keep the drivers. You take your 30-minute when you drop and hook or load or unload, of course, which you're not allowed to do naturally, because drop and hook is on duty time. But I'm sure many people do that, of course. Will this lead to robot road rage? Oh, that's and then there'll be psychiatrists that are robots to take care of it. You'd like to see an automated truck handle a low bridge or gross limit in time to stop. It wouldn't have the problem, though, because it'll read that long before it gets to it. Unlike some of these memes and stuff people send me where there's a truck stuck under an 11.3 bridge, which is marked 11.3 all down the road, and then they're stuck under it. At least the autonomous truck would read those signs and know where the bridge is. Cops would have a way to shoot a signal to an autonomous truck for a detour. Yeah, they said that was going to have to happen, is that road signs and the police would be able, they put up a broadcaster or be broadcasting out of their car to autonomous trucks that it's an official police unit telling you to turn through this pass. Yeah, that's what they said, but none of that is set up yet. They have to get all that ready. They'll have to change, they said, every single road sign and red light and everything else in the United States. How long does that take? Because until the things can talk to that truck's not going to turn through the median. Let's go to Canadian hours. No required break and can drive 13 hours. Don't they have do they get a 15-hour day too or something? They get a few extra hours a day, right? Cash is King Trucking is here. Thanks for coming in. I'm getting rid of you're for getting rid of the 30-minute break. I agree. Let's get rid of it. You don't get paid for it. What if you're not tired? It doesn't make any sense. I never liked it when they did it. And I'm not saying people need to work more, but I mean, why have time where you're unpaid? No company really pays it. There are not many people paying it. Shippers and receivers need you on a 16-hour day. They may need people on it. They're not going to get me on that day. I wouldn't work 16 hours if it went to 16 hours. TRRT, you're new to the channel. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. You like the videos. I appreciate that as well. Mike, I'm the man. Well, I appreciate it. I try to be a partial man anyway. Don't be fooled by self-driving car or truck as a machine. More than just software, it thinks and adapts and learns. Oh, that's what we need. A truck that learns. Did anybody see Terminator? Remember, it has no emotion. It has no forgiveness. It doesn't care. It just continues to go until it kills Sarah Connor. That's what's going to happen. How would longer driving time affect rates? They'd go down. That's the problem. People don't realize that. If you can drive longer, they need less trucks, rates go down. So you should want the shortest day possible if you're dependent on rates to go up. I've got 11 hours driving and 3 hours of PC. I usually drive 13 hours, drive the 13th anyway. How do you have 3 hours of PC a day? Holy crap. I don't want to work 14 hours a day. Exactly. Who wants to work 14 hours a day? What the heck? That's a long day. I mean, if you can't make money in a regular day where you can make a living, you're not being paid enough. I mean, let's be honest about that, right? Skynet becomes self-aware. Judgment Day is inevitable. Exactly. The trucks, you want the trucks all thinking, and then what? Oh, they don't need us for anything. They'll make other robot trucks to build more copies of themselves. It's a disaster. What's the best way to wash off the fifth wheel grease? Yikes. Dawn. Though, honestly, Dawn. It takes grease out of your way, and it works great. It works on ducks, and it works on fifth wheel grease. I like that idea. Do 14 hours and do what you want. Yeah, I mean, okay, they say, all right, here's a 14-hour day. Drive it all, on duty at all, no 30 minutes. You figure out your day. That'd be the better way to do it, I think. It sounds dicey. Yeah, it does. You might move to Canada, all right? As self-driverless truck becomes mainstream in America. Well, they'll be in Canada, too. They're just less of them, and they'll all deliver Tim Horton stuff. What if an accident takes out a road sign? That's a problem, right? The truck won't have the roadside to rely on. It'll have to rely on GPS and all of its sensors. But they said, so it'll know the red light and it'll anticipate it. It'll know the lane closes and it will anticipate it. But it will still be able to read the road and have all these other sensors around it. You're a hotshot auto carrier looking to get your CDL. Oh, well, you know where you need to go. That sounds horrible, right? A hotshot auto carrier needs to go to Auto Transport Intel, and that's Jay's show. He's live at 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, Central, 8 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube on Auto Transport Intel, and he goes live. He deals with auto carriers and hotshots especially. He is the person on that. I'm a company semi-driver hauling vans, so I can't give you as much information probably as I would like to, other than for like regulations and stuff like that. AI will continue to improve until the singularity arrives. We don't want that. What you need is a smart GPS. They're pretty good now, right? Autonomous trucks become self-aware. You're doomed. Oh, yeah. Once they don't need you, they realize you're the problem. Forget it. Anybody see the movie Trucks with Timothy Busfield? That's the future. You take a 1-hour break almost every day to nap and drive 3,000 miles a week. See? So you're doing fine. But you have your day set up, and so you do it. You make it happen. What do you want in 14 hours? And if you stuck at a shipper for 2 hours, they have to give that back to the 14. No, 14 is 14. So no, I don't want my day made longer into 16 hours. I don't. Then you're talking about a 16-hour day. So if you're a shipper, why aren't you paid for the 2 hours? That's my question to you. That 2 hours should be paid time. So if you're paid for all of your time, you wouldn't need to extend your day. Stop trying to make your day longer and start trying to make money at the time that you're already working for your company. That's what I'm all about. You ran under an owner-operator. Don't know how he does it, but I'm not complaining. I don't know about that. That sounds weird. You ran under it. So I disappeared again, right? The robots driving means we'll start seeing, bot lizards. Oh, that's a good one. It won't be a real cop. It will be an electronic computer dressed as a cop. Yeah, it'll just be like number 7 or number 5, right, coming up there to you to give you a ticket. That video game Detroit where all the robots started war. I've never seen that one. You're saying that automated trucks are going to kill Sarah Connor? Yeah, except we are all Sarah Connor. A new road sign will automatically grow out of the ground. Oh, no, more robots will come out and replace it. It'll probably know, that sign goes offline, and so they send a bunch of robots out there to replace it. Minor issue with the trucks, they may be a little heavy, resulting in less payload. Maybe they'll get an exemption. How about that? Keep the 30-minute rule, but take the 8-hour rule out. At some point, you'll stop to eat. I'm not a fan of the 30 minutes at all because you don't get paid for it. And you may not stop to eat. You may have food in your truck. So I'm not a huge fan of it because it's unpaid time. They basically mandate you unpaid time. I'm not a fan. Cassius King lets people microwave food brought from home. Yeah, I don't agree with it. I wonder if they would let me bring my own wiener from home and warm them on the roller grill. Well, look, if you want to put your wieners on the roller grill, you tell us how that works out. That would be interesting to see. You just fill the thing up. I'm starting to doubt this supposed driver shortage. Ever tried parking in New England? Look, there's no driver shortage. I've talked about this. There is no driver shortage. There's tons of drivers here waiting that I get written to every day nearly by somebody at a company, a major company always, who's waiting for a trainer. I've waited a week. I've waited for 2 weeks. They can't get trainers fast enough to put all the people in trucks. There's no shortage. They have drivers all over the place. Mike, I live in Lafayette, Indiana, in beautiful Lafayette, right near Purdue University, the home of the Boilermakers, which is on every sign in town here. What is the best slide rail grease or lube? I have no idea. I WD-40 them sometimes in the winter, but that's about it. What are two autonomous trucks react when they face each other on a narrow road? What narrow road can they not pass each other? I mean, really, and they would probably have to decide who backs up. $25 an hour for 14 hours. That's pretty good, right? That'd be good money. It would be a sad game to play. How will the autonomous trucks put chains on? They already have automated chains right now today with just a button on the dashboard. You can chain your truck if your company has them on your truck, automatic chains. So there's no reason an automatic chain can't be on those trucks, and it would just activate it. No, that's no problem. They have them right now. Come on, Hershey, here we go again. Yeah, let's get that stuff loaded up. It's all about the government wanting to control you and then kill us. I had to wait 15 hours to finish getting loaded. Tyson out of College Park. Yeah, Tyson is not good for loading people, but all that 15 hours should have been paid time, so you shouldn't have any problem, right? KLLM, right, saw on the website, household goods miles, wonderful, right? $10 an hour after 3 hours, that's pretty good, right? Don't you think that's good? No. See, that's the problem with these companies. So you sit 3 hours and get $10 an hour. What kind of pay is that? And then that place, KLLM, is one of them that complains, we can't get drivers. Yeah, no duh. Who would work there? Everybody should quit immediately. That works there. Robot trucks will put lot lizards out of work. I like the bot lizard part, right? If you earn 50 cents, and then they actually would have a credit card slot right there. If you earn 50 cents, you'll earn $30 an hour at 60 miles an hour. Yeah, exactly. As long as you're rolling, but you should get all of your time paid. All of it. I saw a video about driverless semis, and that's a scary concept, and that's going to be the problem. Edna and Mr. Schmiegelmeyer, who are 96 years old and vote, they are scared too, and they are not going to allow that. So, and right now, the driverless semis, don't let them fool you. There's a driver in the truck. It's required. Plus, local, not running logs. Oh, so you're exempt, right. No way to prove you stop for lunch other than timestamps, and ours are paper. You get paid lunch. Oh, okay, so you stop. I'd stop too. You're getting paid, right. And that's good that you get paid for it. I thought someone had to ask that on every show. Exactly. What's the latest news on oil field job, and is the pay still good? As far as I know, I mean, I don't work in the oil field, and I've never been there, but absolutely, I think that the pay there is good, and as far as I know, they're still hiring. Pay's always been good in the oil fields. Years ago, a friend of mine went to North Dakota and to the oil fields. Now, this has been 5 or 6 years now that he went to North Dakota, and he was making $2,500 a week then in the North Dakota oil fields, and he ran there for a winter. So as far as I know, it's good. Mike, yeah, skin problems. When you get to my age, you're gonna. That's what happens. At Comfortable Man, what's going on today? Thanks for being here today. Steel Horse, exactly. Prime says they can't order trucks fast enough for the lease program. Well, how can that be if they have a driver shortage? Because they don't have a driver, I'll rent your truck shortage over there. Is any Prime driver, Prime drivers write to me all the time, by the way. I get a lot of hate mail if you don't know it. But Prime is one of the larger companies, so I get more hate mail from them. Oh, I make lots of money here. I've yet to get a Prime driver that writes to me. That's a solo that makes more money than a good company driver. Okay, so some Prime solo lease driver, I'd love to see you write to me and let's talk. Tyson says, truckers, you're staying overnight. I can't tell you how many people complain about the place. It's crazy. Wild Bill says, no outside wieners, please. Look, if he wants to put his wiener in the wiener heater, I mean, more power to him. Why would you get paid? Why would you get paid for a 30-minute break? Because it's part of your job. You're still babysitting, $250,000 of equipment and everything else. So all your time at work should be paid just like it is anywhere else. So since the company on your 30-minute break doesn't let you go to the movies or leave the truck, you should get paid for it. Anytime you have to be at that truck, you should get paid. Not much point being worried about the trucks. Autonomous drivers will not organize or try to stop. You're not going to stop it. Drivers can't even agree how long of a workday we should have. Yeah, sure. I say shorter, but I agree with that. They're coming anyway. There's not going to be any point to that. They're going to come. What could you possibly organize to stop them? It's not going to happen. The only thing that's going to stop them is Fred and Edna when they vote, and that's going to be a few years until they die off. At least for a while, they'll be stopped. We need $25 an hour for 14 hours a day. Yeah, exactly. Right. We need to be paid a decent wage every day. And over-the-road drivers that are gone from their house for weeks at a time should easily get $2,000 a week. It's worth it. A good road driver should get $2,000. I know they don't, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't. Half the trucks in the whole U.S. were sitting at the Petro in Ontario. Right. There's no shortage. Do not believe the trucker shortage. It's totally not true. Mike, my opinion on all the drama. I don't comment on drama. I'm here to do trucking videos and stuff, so I leave everybody else's videos out of it basically, and I don't comment on drama from other channels. Certainly, that's their thing. This is trucking based, not drama based. I know companies that offer you $500 to bring a driver in, so there's no shortage, and nobody wants this job. Exactly. There's companies with $8,000-$10,000 sign-on bonuses. That's how much they want drivers. The thing is, there's a driver churn. There's no shortage because they burn you out, give you $10 an hour after 3 hours, and then you quit, and they wonder, we can't get any drivers. How about working on switching the industry to salary? I agree. I love it. No need to spend to make more money. No incentive to violate hours. Hourly with overtime does that as well. And not having to worry about loading and unloading times. I personally would think hourly with overtime is better because if you did wait, you'd get more money. And if you got hourly with overtime, that encourages the company to get you moving sooner. Because if they pay you a salary, they don't have to give you any more money when you're sitting somewhere. Hourly with overtime, they've got to get you out or they pay you more money. So that gets you moving faster. And really, you want to be moving freight. Nobody likes sitting in a dock, even if you're getting paid. It's boring just sitting there. I mean, come on. Anytime towing, all the layoffs, plenty of drivers. Lot lizards have a lot for sure, like an ATM. Yes. After I said it, I thought, I wonder how that's going to be. But yeah, they could, they'll have a reader on there and everything. Yeah. Maybe a fingerprint scanner the robot bot lizards could have a loyalty card kind of program. So it appears that all the testing on autonomous trucks have been in mild weather. Exactly. And flat highways, right? How are these things going to perform in adverse conditions? They won't. Look, the thing doesn't work now. As you know, I have this radar system. Many of you have it. In the heavy rain last week, it turned itself off. System not available. Cruise control's off. Yeah, because it's raining. What are my thoughts about Prime? I think they're doing better than they used to. I think they really encourage you to lease a truck, though. So, and that's not a thing that I'm interested in. So it's a place to get started. It's probably better than a lot of places, considering they do pay you something. Well, I have to unload at Walmart tonight. How is that going to go? Some are good and some are not, right? They have robot sex workers in Germany. Yikes. San, got a roll. Hey, thanks, and I'll keep the fight up here, and thanks for being here. Oh, Wild Bill, who do I drive for? I don't get asked that very often, so that's pretty awesome. I try to keep them out of my video as well. I don't say who I work for. I never say who I work for, and they have a sign-on bonus here. If I get people on, I don't take it. I don't tell them where I work for, and it keeps them out of my videos. And I also don't recruit for them. Oh, my gosh, every driver out here is recruiting for their company. It's crazy. I don't recruit for my company either, so I keep them out of everything. Roller wiener heater. Look, there's a heater in there. You don't want to put your wiener in there. That's all I'm saying. You're bringing it from, your own. So, and I've seen people that love bring their own food in. It's ridiculous. Would you go to a restaurant and bring your own food in? 8-hour workday, just like everybody else. If you have to work 14 hours and then you're telling me, look, I need to work more than this to make a living, you're not being paid enough. Think about that. Because I get these letters all the time. Oh, Mark, we need to extend the day. I'm not making any money. Why not? That's over half the day as it is. Won't your 30-minute break be on duty? No, your 30-minute break is allowed to be off duty now. That's why you're taking the 30-minute break. Even though they don't let you leave, the DOT has cut out an exemption for that so you can put it off duty. Welders make all the money in oil. No limit on hours, plus time and a half. Drivers, but they're getting paid extra, right? Drivers get mad or limited by hours and paid by the load instead of by the hour. Exactly. Not paid when the wells are down. Exactly. So they're not being paid by the hour, and so it's a problem. Most of the drivers here are dry van drivers. Yeah, that's the majority of drivers. Can I do a video about tanker? I've done some tanker stuff. I'm doing this for a year and won't go back. Yeah, well, send me what your thoughts on it, right? Let's get your thoughts out there. Because you have more experience doing it than me, most likely. I'm actually excited about getting into the industry. Good. Old boy from Illinois. I have no ties here. Can't stand living in Illinois. Yeah, get out of Illinois. Go live in the truck if you don't have any ties there. They have K-Wayne, that's for sure. You got a prime going to Smith Transport. So we have another Smith driver out here too. And the good small local companies, what a joke that would be. Look, I don't, right. There's some good small places, but I'm always concerned about it. 90% of the companies are trash. Exactly. Who needs brakes? Yeah, you don't need brakes. You shouldn't need them. Crazy Indiana trucker. Kevin Rutherford says there's a driver shortage. Oh, okay. Well, good for Kevin Rutherford. He's wrong. He doesn't have any idea that there's a driver shortage. You know, these large companies like England and all that advertise on his show as well. And so he's getting money from them. That's another thing that I don't ever say here, right? I don't take money from trucking companies. It's not like this pays a lot anyway, but I don't take money from any trucking company that's on the channel. So if you ever see any company on my channel, good or bad, they've not paid me for that. I refuse to take any money for it so that it remains my opinion. He has commercials from them. They pay him, so he's got to say what they want him to say. I don't. I get to say what I want to say. Autonomous drivers get to sleep. If so, does the truck keep moving? I don't think so. A driver has to be currently in the seat driving the truck. You know, they can't be in the sleeper at the moment. They may change that later. I don't think my job, because he doesn't want to get doxxed by some psycho. Yeah, well, no, I don't want them in my videos, you know, and my dispatcher is a subscriber here. So, you know, they know I do this, but I don't want them saying something, like, oh, Mark, you can't say that. We're friends with that company or whatever. I don't want that, you know, and I don't recruit for them. They have recruiters. They can go do their own business out there. If I got another trucker and hired a driver, what rate per mile to a driver should he be paid handling automobiles? I never hauled cars, okay, so I don't know, but he should get a decent day's pay. And in my opinion, he should be paid hourly, and of course, he should be an employee of yours and not a 1099. But he's going to need 50, 60 cents for an experienced driver, right? What are the laws regarding owning a restored semi and taking it to shows? Are you exempt from hours of service? Yeah, I think so. That'd be all personal conveyance, right? Do you have to have a DOT number? No, that's for hauling freight. You're a private vehicle, so no. I'll say no. And you're exempt? Yes. Personal conveyance? No problem. You're just driving it around. It's basically just a vehicle for you. You're not hauling freight for hire. You're not for hire, not hauling interstate freight. Yeah. Has anybody considered what's going to happen in the lizard industry? Nobody, you know, have Kevin Rutherford talk about that. We go to self-driving trucks. What are those lot lizards going to do? Yeah, well, they'll be robot lot lizards. I'm not recruiting for the company I work for. What a joke. Well, you should like the place you work, really. You know, so if you work somewhere that you don't like, you should move. I've been at my company. This is May now, so this is 17 years this month. So, you know, I've been here 17 years, so it's an okay place. Or I could easily leave somewhere. If you've been somewhere 17 years, you go to fill that tenure thing out and you put one place down, you could probably get a job somewhere. So I could leave and don't. It's a good place. If you don't like where you work, where you probably wouldn't recruit for them, you think, oh, it's not great, I probably would go somewhere else, maybe, or at least think about it. Or think, what is wrong with my company, you know? The driver needs to be put in jail. I don't know. Maybe. Who don't you work for? I don't work for a lot of places. Not for Falcon, that's for sure. Thanks, Wild Bill. I appreciate that. A truck driver was supposed to be making $2,000 a week because the company makes $9,000. A company driver should make $2,000 to be gone from their house. Each state has different laws, but is there a law that says a shipper has to provide a bathroom? Probably not. I don't think so. You don't work for them. They probably have to provide it for their employees. But you don't work there? I would say probably they don't. But I probably wouldn't want to go somewhere that didn't have a bathroom place. Holy mackerel. That the military can have drone plane to blow people up. They should make drone trucks so we can work at home in our boxers, in our white beaters, and wearing flip-flops. People wear that to work as it is, right? I don't think I would ever slag Schneider. I might. You never know. I don't like the place with 9 months of experience. I mean, gosh. You were talking about CRST. All right. I worked plenty of other jobs where they're limited to 12 hours a day. Good. Even though there was plenty of work that needed to be done. But they argued that after 12 hours, the failure rate grows. See, it does. Once you work too many hours a day, especially day after day after day, you get more and more tired. You have more accidents. It's a true story. People say, "Oh, I can do it." Not really. You eventually get too tired. And who wants to work that many hours a day? People that write to me and go, 14 hours is not enough. You need to be paid more. You don't want to work more. Trucker JP, you're a little late today, but glad you're here. Right. Crash and roll team, yes. Leonidas, hello from Highline in Montana. Wow, that's a long one. What's going on out there? Trucking wages aren't the problem. The bills are. The wages are really, really low. Jordan, you love your job. You've been here a year, but plan on making a career of it. Good. Stay in the industry. Home every day, $30 an hour, and great benefits. That's exactly great. You're getting paid for all of your time. That's how it should be, right? You're making great money. Does Florida still have a state trooper semi? I think so. I don't know why they would retire that thing. I thought it was really cool. What do you think about the new Mack Anthem? I love the way it looks. Right. What truck do I recommend? I like my Cascadia. I do. I haven't driven an Anthem. We're a Freightliner place because of fleet. They charge less to fleets or whatever. So that's pretty much what we get. We have a few Volvos flying around, but that's what we get. So I haven't driven all of them. People on here love their Pete's and Kenworths. I will say that. Barnum was offering you $3,000 per driver for referrals, but never tried or wanted to ruin my name. Everyone has a different experience. That's the other side of recruiting people, especially on here. Somebody can use your name. You don't know who they are. And there's some mass murder or whatever. So what if 10 people use your name and they go, you're sending us a bunch of idiots. What are you doing? So you also have, that's the downside of it too. Can't just money. It just can't be about money. Everything can't be about money for you in life. Okay, so you get money. So what? Is that you're going to ruin your name for a few bucks? Forget it. Go get money some other way. My company was offering $4,000 per referral, and you recruited 2. Look, if you believe in the place and you know the driver, that's one thing. But, you got to kind of figure out who the driver is. You start sending them a bunch of idiots, and they're going to think you're a moron. Robot lot lizards. It sounds painful. Depends who the other robot is. Oh, steel horse. Exactly. That would be WD-40 for that, right? Or Vaseline. I have missed out on, that's petroleum, right? I've missed out on 5 weeks since you've been in training in TMC. What do you think about it? Loving it? Making a truckload? Well, it's probably better than KLLM. My problem, of course, at TMC is the micromanaging, making your bed kind of rules. The rules. Not the pay, but the rules. The rules. K&B is the same kind of thing. They micromanage you. The pay there is actually relatively good. You're guaranteed $65,000 or whatever to start. But it's those rules. The rules. 2,000 a week isn't much if you're in the truck 24 hours a day. Divide the hours and it doesn't add up. It does add up to what I think it does, because that's $100,000. I mean, that's twice the average here in Indiana. That'd be a good living. And 2,000 a week is, most people don't make it now. Cruising. Oh, you got your pay fix. Good. So now we're okay again, and tell them, look, don't do it again. Keep up the good work. Yeah, you like guys like, you need people like me. I appreciate it. There should be more people, going to companies and saying, you need to pay me. Just go get your pay. Do most companies pay the referral bonus? I think so, yeah. I hear they try to weasel out of it. I don't think so, only because you would stop doing it then. They need those referrals, and so if they started getting out that they don't pay it, nobody would do it anymore. There are plenty of tanker companies that pay good. That's true. There are lots of tanker companies that pay good. Have I hauled intermodal? I hauled containers. I used to haul containers that went from rail to rail in Chicago. So you'd pick it up at one and had to cross to a different rail because it was going somewhere else. And that paid per load. How do I get in with the rail yards? I don't know how you get in with the rail yards. Maybe Wild Bill can talk. He does some intermodal stuff. I don't know. So I don't know how to get in exactly with the rail yards. Bar none paid the referral up front, just like the sign-on. Yeah, that's exactly correct, right. That, and they will have to do it. But getting in on intermodal, no problem. Just hire on an intermodal company. Easy peasy. You make $1 million a year hauling cocaine, 1 day off, 6 days, 1 day on, 6 days off. Well, that's a little riskier than we probably like to get into, on this show. And that's probably harder to get into as well because of the danger zone attached to it. I'm not sure exactly how that would work. I was driving in Chicago. Well, I did nights there, as I do still, right? I love nights. And it wasn't any problem. Rail to rail, I knew where all the rails were then. And you just picked it up, and took it to the other rail yard and dropped it off. You got on the radio. It was all radio dispatched. And we'd get another load and went back and forth until like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then the morning crew came in and you'd go back home. It wasn't bad. It was a living. They had really old Mack trucks that nothing worked on. The radio, gauges, nothing worked at all. So the trucks ran, and that's how we did it. You just found out you have your first kid on the way, considering XPO or Old Dominion. Wow, over-the-road pays good, but old once a month. You're not home enough to raise a kid. Yeah, exactly. You should be home to raise your kid. Has anyone seen your channel on here? It's not about robot strippers. We think it is now. Yeah, I would check into Old Dominion and check on their insurance. They probably pay better than XPO. Around Indianapolis, they're paying in the low 60 cents a mile to start, is what I've seen them advertise. You know a guy at FFE who only went to New York City, and he was doing drugs back to the Bronx. That's not a great thing to do. Have I ever bought my own truck? No, wouldn't want to do that, really. People complain about low pay pull dry vans. Go tanker. It depends on what you do with dry vans, right? What company does the rail to rail? I don't remember the name of that company. I think they're closed now. There's a lot of them in Chicago that do that, though. There's containers that have to go from one rail to the other rail constantly because of where the load is going, and the rail doesn't go there. So there's tons of places that are doing that. That was in the early 90s. I just don't remember the name of that place. I can't remember it. Did I see the person that was smuggling marijuana coming out of Mexico? They didn't manufacture steel. Yeah, there's coils or something that somewhere was full of marijuana. Right. Tons of it. I've been to South Chicago. Yeah, I used to live on Whipple in Chicago, 1800 Whipple, and I grew up in Hammond, Indiana. Heck yeah, I've been to Chicago. That's almost my hometown. The rules only come into play well at terminals and service times. Home every weekend, though, or run if you want. I'm not a fan, of that. I have a great channel. I've helped you a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope that you will get in the industry, really. You run for XPO as an owner-op. It's good here. Don't know about the company side. I didn't even know they did that there. Biggest national demand commodity? But you can't get that on a load board, right? I mean, is that posted on a load board? I don't think so. You saw Sarah Connor wannabe? You don't see many of those anymore at the truck stops. You just don't see them. They've all been run out. Since the 76s have closed, you just don't see them anymore. And was she a bot lizard or a lot lizard? That's the question that we want to ask. Well, as we know, at 3:32, I have to get headed out to go make my company some money. Giving serious consideration getting your own authority. Well, there are people out here that are doing it. Check into Cash is King Trucking. He's got a channel going on over there with that stuff. My thoughts on that. I'm not a huge fan of it. Magic mushrooms are going to be legal. Not for drivers. People always ask me that. Can drivers do that? No, drivers cannot do that, certainly. No matter what, you get busted on a test and you're finished. That'll totally finish your whole career, no matter if it's legal in that state or not. It doesn't make any difference. We just can't do it. Why does food grade or non-hazmat tanker pay so low? I don't know. I've seen them paying pretty good. It just each company varies so much. What was my first truck after getting your CDL was a GMC Brigadier, which had a 5-speed and a 2-speed rear end, and we also had a Ford 8000, but I didn't drive that much unless we had a heavy load. 24 hours times 6 days is 13 an hour, if you count all your hours, right. I don't count sleeping hours because even at a job, you're not paid to sleep. Working hours. And if we did it really bright, with overtime, it's even less than that. Will a company associated with a driver go out of business? Probably. Where they had multiple break infractions. They're going to be sued out the wazoo with this. It'll be bankruptcy. You've only seen XPO owner option running rail out of California? Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that many. Maybe that's why I don't see them out here. I bought my own truck, and it's the best choice you made. It works out for some people, as I've said. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it's not for me. It's different than, I'm certainly used to. Trucker Hershey, it's time for dinner. I appreciate you being here. Rail is recruiting, but don't know how they are. New driver. Is it better than Prime? I think it's probably a wash with Prime. Although they pay you while you're in truck school. I think it's close on pay. They both have, I think Rail has cameras. I'm not sure if Prime does. Maybe Prime doesn't. If you need numbers, you can gather them. Here's an email, right? Helping out. Pizza with extra mushrooms. That's awesome. Wrong kind of mushrooms for Roger Penske. I'm going to head out and make my company some money before they get all upset with me. But I do appreciate everybody being here as always, okay? And it's always really something to me. So thank you for coming in this week. And we'll be back live, of course, next Monday and at 1 p.m. And, of course, videos through the week. More on this accident. June 7th, we're going to talk about, exactly what's happening with the rules that are going to be changing. Yikes. Have I driven for a company running super singles? No. I've been waiting to get them because I do a different trailer every day. I haven't found any yet. And as soon as I get one, I'll do a video about it. Do I prefer not to own your own truck? Yeah. I'm more company, no risk. And they pay me for all my time, so I don't have to worry about anything, including if there's a problem and I don't have to work that day, I still get paid. So, that's why I stay here, at this place. And people can sit, but, you can go get paid all of your time. You can. You really can. You just got to take a chance. Oh, I don't want to quit. You've got to quit and go find a place that will pay you for all your time. Oh boy, thank you. And thanks for being here. Wow, Bill, thanks for popping in here. I appreciate it. You may hate it, but other people love it there, and you know you love it. Deep down inside, you love that place. When your company's terminal, which is unionized, pays you for the sleeper, that's really good. So they literally are paying you for all your time. That's even better. That's better than most places. I've heard bad things and good things about super singles, and people use them. So I don't know. Company is better in repairs. Yeah, of course. I don't have to repair the truck. If it doesn't start, I just get a different truck. How easy is that? They towed a truck to me on the road before. They towed me another truck. So you can't get that as an owner-operator without some money, certainly. You helped Navajo driver throw super singles over Vail. They wouldn't let him go over because of the 4 tires minimum chain law. Right. So he's got to do it. Right. He should know how. The driver should know how to do it. Why don't the drivers know how to do it? That's the thing. They're not being trained in how to do it. That's the crazy part of it. XPO has a terminal in Bedford Park. Yeah, they're all about Chicago, right? They're all up there. You'll see them on your travels through Chicago, certainly. I am headed out here to get the company some money. We'll be back next Monday live, always. And all your missives, of course, write to me. Anything you want to send over, I'd love to see it. And we'll see you next week on the show. I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.